Oh. Is my video on? Okay, I didn't have it. Okay. Now it's on. Yeah, we're okay. Yeah. Good morning and welcome. In accordance with Sections 45 and 53 of the Planning Act 1990 as amended, this meeting of the Committee of Adjustment of the City of Toronto is called to order. The Committee of Adjustment considered applications for variances from the provisions of the zoning that applies to property, permission to extend or alter lawful non-conforming uses, and consent to serve a property to create new lots. And my name is Yim Chen. I will be chairing today's hearing. And I also like to introduce our panel member today. To my left is Ms. West and Mr. Byett and also Mr. Clay. And we also like to acknowledge that the land we are meeting on is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anasazi, the Chippewa, and the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat people, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, Métis peoples. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississauga of the Credit. Committee of Adjustment public hearing are now conducted in a hybrid in-person and virtual format. Some applicants or participants will make their submission in person, and others will participate virtually by electronic means through WebEx, an online digital platform. The meeting are also streamed on the Toronto City Planning YouTube channel, and anyone wishing to view the hearing may watch on YouTube. Those who want to participate virtually and have registered in advance will be connected with their computer, tablet, smartphone, or telephone, and have the options to participate via video or audio only. All virtual participants will be automatically be muted on entry. When your item is called, you will be unmuted by the moderator, one person at a time. We ask you that you also mute your device until you are called on to speak. Do we do the other business first, or yeah, we have to?
Once you finish.
Oh, okay. Yes, that's at the end. Okay. And those participating by video appearance will be temporarily upgraded to panelists when your item is being held. During this time, your camera will be enabled. You will only be visible during your 5 minutes allocated time. All other times, your video will be disabled and you will be restated as an attendee. For both in-person and virtual participants, Committee of Adjustment staff will share presentations submitted in accordance with the written submission deadline. Those participating through WebEx are not allowed to use share screen or any other panelist controls during a video appearance. The host will remove you from the panelist role if you fail to respect this instruction. How to receive a copy of the decision. People attending in person today who want to receive a copy of the decision of the committee on any application must fill out a decision request card, and those participating virtually need to submit a written request for decision by email. Please ensure that you include your name, address, and email address because the Committee of Adjustment and the Toronto Local Appeal Body, TLAB, will be sending notifications and appeal updates by email. If you do not agree with the decision of the committee, you might be able to appeal the decision to the Toronto Local Appeal Body, or in some limited circumstances, to the Ontario Land Tribunal. However, the provincial government amended the Planning Act and generally removed rights of third parties to appeal Committee of Adjustment decisions. Only the applicant, the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, specified persons and public bodies, such as those terms are defined in the Planning Act, are permitted to appeal decisions of the Committee of Adjustment. Appeal instructions are set out at the bottom of the decision of the committee. Now, I'd like to read out the procedure of the hearing. I will call each item in the order listed on the agenda. When you make your submission, when an application is not contested, the agent or applicant may proceed with the presentation if desired. When the committee does not require presentation, applicants are advised the chair should they wish to speak to the committee. The committee may ask questions or take the matter to the committee for decision. Each speaker, including the applicant or agent, will be given a maximum of 5 minutes to address the committee. I will comment when you're reaching your 5 minutes. Any presentation or other materials which you wish to submit to the committee must have been emailed in advance of the hearing. Staff and committee members cannot accept materials at the hearing. When addressing the committee, please clearly state your name and address. Please remember to confine your remarks to the matters outlined in the application. The applicant or agent will proceed first and will make a presentation to the committee or on the application. Please note that the committee might not entertain revisions to proposal at the hearing day. The committee may decide to defer the application if substantially revised to ensure the revised application is accurate and that all those entitled to notice of the application are informed of the changes. Then individuals, either in support or opposed to the application, will be invited to speak. Generally, we'll first call on speakers in the hearing room and then those participating through WebEx. Committee members may ask questions of each speaker after they have finished their presentation. And when all the speakers are finished, the applicant or agent has an opportunity to rebut only those issues that were raised by the speaker. This will mark the end of the discussion. The applicant will then be taken to committee for decision. And before we start the hearing, I'd like to know whether we have some minutes of meetings to confirm, to adopt. Yeah.
Good morning, Madam Chair and panel members. Yes, we do have the minutes from our July 3rd and July 10th hearing of this year to be adopted.
Do we have a motion to adopt? Yeah, Mr. Bayek.
Thank you.
Yeah. And all in favor to adopt?
We need a second.
Oh, I need a second. Yes, Mr. Clay second. And all in favor? Yeah. Okay, but I also like to, if anyone from the staff and from the panel that has conflict or interest for the morning session? No. And is there any closing file or deferral requests?
For you, Madam Chair, I don't see any files to be closed this morning, and I do not see any requests for deferral for this morning's items.
Oh, okay. It seems that we can move on to here item number 1. Is 1927 Davenport Road. The committee, the purpose for this application is to legalize and to maintain the conversion of a 2-story, 2-unit mixed-use building into a 4-unit mixed-use building. The construction without an authorized building permit, including rear basement, ground floor, and second-story additions, as well as a side east deck. This is currently an eating establishment and a personal service shop and 4 residential units, and they are seeking 4 variances. And we also receive a copy of survey site plans, floor plans and elevations, 7 photographs of the subject property and decisions that are affecting the subject property, and an order to comply affecting the property. And we have 17 letters of support and also in Davenport Road and other nearby streets, 17 support. Yeah.
Through you, Madam Chair, we do have the agent online, no registered speakers for this item. At this time, we'll unmute Joseph Romero.
Oh, I must make a correction. They are actually seeking 6 variances. Okay, sorry. Yeah.
Joseph, you've been unmuted.
Hi, I can talk now?
You can speak now, yes.
Yeah, good morning. My name is Joseph Romero. I represent my client from 1927 Davenport Road. We're planning to change the use from 2 units to 4 units. Before, we have right here in the ground floor 1 unit, in the second floor another unit. And right now, we plan to change the use to put 2 units in the second level, another 2 units in the ground floor. So besides that, my client, by mistake, she making a small addition for 1 point. Is making a small addition of 1.36 meters in the rear. 1.36 by 584 meters. So the area is around 7.92 square meters. We have this problem. We already to increase the size of the unit. So that right now we have this situation. So the main point right here is to change from 2 units to 4 units. It's all.
Okay, thank you. Do we have questions? Yeah. Yeah, we do have some questions. Yeah.
Okay.
That's right.
Thanks, Chair. Just a quick, you've explained a little bit just that your client had constructed this addition in error. Is that what happened?
Yeah, my client making a small addition over there. She go back 1.36 meters to the rear. After by 1.36 by 584 meters. She making addition over there without a permit. We already paid the fine for that. Yeah, we had this. She make this small addition over there. This is the point. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so it's just in error, and it does appear to be a fairly minor addition. The other question I have is, looking at your photos and from your site plan, you have pavers in the backyard. I'm going to assume because it's mixed use, there's no requirement for rear yard landscaping?
Yeah, we have, actually, before we don't have any landscaping. And we don't have any landscaping right now, but...
It's an existing condition is what you're saying?
Well, we're planning to put, actually, I make a report, I remember. Let me see. Yeah. Let me see.
I'm not sure what you're telling me, sir.
Okay, one moment, please, because you asked me for a question regarding landscaping. Right?
Yeah, you're not seeking a variance for rear yard landscaping, so I'm going to assume, given that you don't have any rear yard landscaping, there's no requirement under the bylaw, probably because you're designated as mixed use.
Right now they had all that time they had a stone before. Stone, finish. We're planning to remain that stone.
So you're
But
keeping
if
what
we
was
need-
already there?
Pardon me?
Okay, I'm not sure I'm getting the
Yeah.
answer, but I think we'll assume that there is no
You
variance
see
for
the
rear
stone,
yard
the 24 by
landscaping, and
24.
the reason is likely because of the...
But it is a mixed use, but it's not shown as mixed use because it's a non-conforming use.
Yeah, I mean, if the zoning examiner didn't identify this as a
Yeah,
variance,
we
then
have to
they
base
don't
on
need
the
one.
notice.
So I'm going to assume that's
Yeah.
the case.
You just want confirmation from him, but
Yeah.
he doesn't seem to understand the question. Okay. So any other questions? Mr. Bayer has a question.
Yes, please. Just a quick one. From the site plan, it looks like the rear balcony that you've got doesn't present overlook issues, I think, on the east side, but on the west side, I wonder if it has overlook issues, so you might need a privacy screen on the balcony on the west side.
Actually, we didn't touch the existing rear deck in the second level. We remained existing over there. We have before, you can see they had a slope roof over there. So that my client, when she makes the addition, she continued the roof, a slope of the roof. So they, but the more important right here, we didn't touch the deck, the existing deck. We remain there.
Okay, it's existing.
In case of fire, according to building code,
Okay.
second exit.
And it's an existing circumstance, so it's not, yeah. I do have one comment, and it's not a question, just a comment, that I think in 2017, there was an application, I suppose, before the Committee of Adjustment. What surprises me is that the applicant didn't realize that for the alterations that subsequently were made, that they didn't need permission. So I think when we do render a decision, we would like to add that for the record, the committee doesn't condone legalization of an illegal structure.
Okay. No problem.
Thank you, Chair.
Oh, thank you. Any other questions? Okay, we do not have any more questions for you, and I think we are moving into a discussion now. We're in committee. Yeah.
Chair,
Okay.
I'm happy to start. I think this is a very modest addition to the existing structure. I think, as Zahir points out, we don't necessarily condone or approve those applications which were done without the benefit of a building permit, but in this case, it seems a relatively minor addition, and the addition of 2 rental units in this area is very welcome. So I would, if my colleagues don't have any questions, I'm happy to move a motion to approve, and we'll just add that condition, or see for the record.
Note. For the record, yeah. Okay, as a comment. And Mr. Bayer, second.
Sure.
And all in favor is approved unanimously. Thank you. Yeah, so that I can see you, yeah. No, a little bit tall, yeah. Okay, let's, we have item number 2, 19 Notley Place. And for this application, the purpose is to alter the existing one-story detached dwelling by constructing a new front porch with stairs and a ramp, and also to permit one additional front yard parking space. And they are seeking 5 variances. On here, we also receive a survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations. Three site plan prepared by the agent, and 4 photographs of the trees, and also a revised zoning notice. And we also receive comment from TLCA, a staff report from community planning, and also within natural feature protection, and also from transportation. We have support from number 16 and number 10 Notley Place.
Through you, Madam Chair, we do have the owner here in person, no registered speakers for this item.
Yeah. So we do not have any opposition. I just want to check the panel whether they would like to have a presentation from you first. Do you guys want a brief?
I don't need a presentation, but I think maybe we can focus on the variance number 5, the
Yes, we will have
refusals.
questions for you. Yeah, let's start. Let's start with the question. They do have some questions for you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Yeah. All right, Mr. Clay.
So I'll just ask the question we're all wondering. You've seen the reports both from community planning and transportation recommending a refusal of variance number 5.
Yes.
You've seen those?
Yes, we have, and we've heard from our agent about that as well.
And have you got any comments on that?
We do. My husband uses a wheelchair. We have 2 cars now. Our children are adults, and they take it to school and to work. We'd like to park the second car on the second parking pad. In the mornings, we have PSWs who come in to assist my husband, and likewise at night. And it's not an issue in the summer, but in the winter, when there's lots of snow, we'd like to get the second car off the road so we can clear a space for the PSW to park in front of the house. And in the event of an emergency, because we have those occasionally, access for any EMS folk to come through up the ramp and into the house. So really, it's a bit of a contingency planning. We've had that where EMS has come in the morning when the PSW is there in the winter, or maybe it wasn't the winter, it was the fall, I think. So it's just really planning for that kind of event, to get the second car off the road, and then we can clear a space in front of the house for the PSW in the winter to park, and still have emergency access for the wheelchair into the house should the need arise.
Thank you. Have you had any discussions with either the transportation folks or community planning about that? Have you raised that issue with them?
I don't know.
Are you or your agent?
I don't believe so, but I don't know for sure.
Yep.
I can't answer that positively.
I have an added question. Have you read the report that transportation gave you? Because there's some kind of restriction even on us what we can do about that, the authorized.
Right.
In the last paragraph of the report is mentioned that despite approval through committee, there's certain bylaw that will govern over our decision. Yeah.
Our agent did approach transportation about that, and we understood that the Committee of Adjustment approves the second parking pad, then that is okay, then transportation is fine with it.
Oh, it does not say that in the report. That's the discrepancy, right?
Okay, I don't know if I have that report then.
You don't have the report?
I don't believe.
It's July 24th, 2024. It's on the screen. Yeah, it's all highlighted. That's where I just want you to be aware that the transportation do have a bylaw.
Right.
Override whatever the committee adjustment decision is.
So I can't read that. I'm not. My eyes aren't so young anymore.
Okay, but
Would you like us to read it?
yes,
Sure.
yeah, it's better to.
Would you like me to do, Chair?
Yeah, please.
The last paragraph reads, despite any approvals through the Committee of Adjustment, any work done within the city boulevard requires a permit through Transportation Services, permits and enforcement, and any parking within the city boulevard may be subject to enforcement under the provisions of Chapter 918 of the Toronto Municipal Code. So I guess what the chair is saying is even if we were to approve it, you might have a couple more hurdles to go through.
Okay, well, that's certainly something we can go back to with our agent and consider if we want to. We would go back with our agent and consider whether we take those next steps, because the ramp is quite old and it's quite rotten. So there's a little bit of urgency in getting the ramp replaced.
Sabrina, can I just ask a question? The paragraph just above that talks about if the committee were to grant, and it suggests that the second, if we do approve it, we remove the second parking spot from the site plan. So would that be, they'd have to amend their site plan if we approve it?
Through you, Madam Chair, it just would mean that they only have one front yard parking pad, not two.
Even if we approve it?
So
That's what I'm struggling with.
So it's either you're going to approve the 2 parking spaces in the front yard or the 1. We're not going to ask to revise the site plan because then that plan won't be before you to review.
Right, okay.
Mm-hmm. So even if we approve, we only approve 1 parking spot.
Right, got it. Thank you.
That's right? Oh, okay.
But we have one parking spot already.
They're asking for a second.
They're
We're asking for a second one.
So it's an additional,
Yes.
but how come the first one is approved?
It's legal. It's already used.
It is partly on the,
We
Through
pay,
you, Madam Chair, it means that the existing parking space is completely on private property.
on private road? Oh, I
This
didn't
new
see that.
parking
Okay.
space is overhanging onto the city boulevard.
Okay,
The
that's,
purpose of application reads also to permit one additional front yard parking
oh,
space.
yes, yes.
And then in brackets, it outlines there will be a total of 2 front yard parking spaces on site.
Yeah, it's staggered, I see. But actually, even on the site plan, both parkings are beyond the property line, but anyway.
I can assure you, I pay $345 every year.
Yeah, so it's
For
a
the first car.
legal, you have a legal
We
parking
have-
pad.
For the first parking. It's because of the way the property, and it's the way the property curves vis-à-vis the city, that the first car hangs, I think, a little bit into the city's boulevard, or the city's property, but we pay for
It
that.
is not totally, but, yeah, okay.
One more question, Chair, if I may.
Yeah, please, Mr. Clay.
So you're planning to reconstruct the ramp?
We were hoping to do it this year. We were hoping to do it last year. We're hoping to do it this year because a lot of the wood, it's a 20-plus-year-old ramp,
Right.
so it's starting to rot.
So what, I mean, you've got a front yard landscaping variance as well. So what, is it, are you going to reconstruct it with pressure-treated wood? Is that the plan?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
And is it kind of grass or ground underneath that?
Yeah, I don't think we have to put in any footings because it's not more than 2 or 3 feet off the ground.
Right, the reason I'm asking is just, that doesn't count towards your front landscaping, but if it kind of has slots in it, it lets the rainwater go through and into the ground. So it
Oh,
helps
yeah.
us deal with the front yard landscaping issue.
It'll have the slots. It won't be stone or anything. It'll be
Right.
wood.
It's not concrete.
Oh, no, gosh,
Okay.
no. No.
All right, thank you.
Okay, any other, yeah, we still have some questions.
My question is regarding variance number 3, the front yard landscaping, which is now 8.4%. The requirement is 50%. Is this 8.4 triggered by proposing to do the second parking pad? The requirement is 50%. I'm talking about variance number 3. And what you propose is 8.4% of the front yard as a landscaping.
If it's in our property, I think we have less soft landscaping because of the deck and the ramp.
Oh, that's because of the, is it existing or this is triggered because of the parking?
I think it's a combination of the deck and the ramp and the parking. If I'm looking at the picture, I think the deck and the ramp just take up space because, of course, the ramp has to be at code.
Then they will.
Right, it can't be too steep.
The landscaping, yeah. If we were going to approve it. Okay, any other question? Yes.
Chair, I just have a question for Secretary Treasurer, perhaps. This is a bit of a long shot. In circumstances like this, which is a special one, health-related issues, do we know if transportation has any leeway and understanding that this is a specific circumstance for this particular household at this particular time, and so that the condition would be that should ownership change at some point, that the condition becomes null and void? Nothing like that.
No.
Through you, Madam Chair, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
So if the committee is to approve this today and transportation approves, then it's there permanently on the site.
Yeah, it goes with it sticks to the property, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
One last question,
Okay, yeah, sure.
if I might. In the event that the panel were to approve this, you're planning to construct a new parking pad, right?
If both pieces are approved, then our plan is to take out the old concrete driveway and put in pavers and hopefully permeable pavers
Yeah.
to do both.
And that's actually where I was going with
Right.
this, that if the panel were to approve this, again, because you're pretty low on your landscaping in the front yard, that would you be open to constructing the new parking area with permeable pavers? It sounds like you are.
Right, and if the city doesn't approve it, then I think we'll reconsider the concrete, well, we may just leave the concrete driveway, right? Because
Okay, thank you.
Okay. One question to my panel members. If we consider this case, we will adopt the transportation report too, right? We have to, because they do have the last say on this.
Are we in committee now?
Through you,
Oh, no.
Madam Chair,
Are we- yeah,
the
that's a
condition
question.
that they're imposing is that you only approve the existing parking space would remain, not the new.
Oh, I see. We only,
That's their initial recommendation to you.
also, we still would only, at the end of the day, they still only have one legal parking space. Oh, okay, that's a different understanding of the, okay, all right. So any other questions first to the applicants, then we can move into discussion and then we can ask our questions, right? And we have no more questions, now we are in committee. Okay, so that's still, Larry, is different from what you mentioned. If we approve this, apparently, they will only have still one legal parking spot, because the second.
But if we approve the variance that they're seeking, they will have 2 parking spots.
Unless we adopt the transportation.
If people want to accept the recommendation from both planning and transportation, you'll be refusing variance number 5. And what that basically means is that they wouldn't be allowed to have the second parking.
Yeah, so that's my question. If we whether adopt it, then they will only have one. If it means that
They have a
deny
legal
it.
parking spot now.
Anyway, yeah. So my option.
Sabrina?
Yes, through you, Madam Chair, that's correct. But the owner is also aware that even if committee approves the 2 spaces today, they may still run into some issues with transportation services.
Right.
Yes,
Yeah, I think that's what was in the transportation report, right? So,
that's what, okay. So my own observation is that in the current condition on all the streets, although I do not know whether they're legal or not, there's, most of them have one driveway or one parking driveway width. And some actually expanded it. It seems that a few of them already have 2 parking, allowed two cars parked there. So it's not unusual if they ask for this addition. That's even the opposite side, there's already.
I was just going to ask, Chair, that since we're in committee,
Yeah.
the last paragraph,
Yes.
transportation, it does say despite any approval, blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
there's a requirement for a permit through transportation service. And it does say, parking within the city boulevard may be subject.
Yes,
And it doesn't say
will be or shall be, yeah.
shall be subject. I'm just hoping that whoever is in office at any particular time, that they perhaps display some leniency, given the circumstance. My thinking would be that perhaps we approve the application, and then hopefully the may be subject will.
But that's why they leave the discretion a little bit to themselves. They have some wiggle room, and we cannot do anything about that one. So, yeah.
Is that a motion?
So, yeah, if colleagues have no other.
Ms. West, any comment?
No comment.
What's your feeling about you adding another, you're permitting another parking spot?
Well, both city staff and transportation are just requested to refuse that variance. But, at the same time, there is a curve, so that the second parking will be on, half of it will be on the city's property. So since they have this special need, and then they want to have wheelchair ramp, and then I think I'm okay with it, because anyways, they have to go to transportation
Yeah.
for further. And it's not just, it's just the cul-de-sac, so it's not the main road.
Okay. All right, so we still have a motion?
And I was just going to add another piece. It's a draw plan. I think it's drawing A3,
E3.
proposed landscape plan, does indicate that the driveways, the proposed driveways will be created with the permeable pavers.
Yes, I think I also am more fond of making it permeable, at least.
Either that or you tie it to the
We
plan.
can tie to drawing
Tied to drawings A2?
A3,
A3.
proposed landscape plan.
Okay, so do we still have a motion?
Yes,
Okay.
and that would be the one.
The motion is to approve, but tied to the site plan H3, specifically on the permeable, for permeable paving. Yeah, in the altered driveway. The A3, how much it shows in terms of the, it's a whole driveway they're going to have to be, it doesn't, A3 does not have,
Through you, Madam Chair, the plan that you're referring to of A3, it does show permeable pavers, but again, this is only on private property.
Be better to have a condition.
Well, we can't impose anything on the city boulevard.
Very good point.
that's the first dilemma. I said that we approve a parking on City Boulevard. That's the thing, right? And that's how I was more inclined to, yeah,
So make it a condition then.
make a condition of,
Sabrina says you
let's have
can't.
your condition.
If you tied to the site plan actually shows it having permeable pavers on City Boulevard,
Yeah.
which we can't do. So you make it a condition of permeable pavers on the private portion.
Only the private portion?
Okay.
Okay, if that's the only thing we can allow. Oh, do we need to read the condition?
Through you, Madam Chair, if the committee has a motion on the floor to approve the application on condition that the parking spaces will be constructed with permeable pavers, then we can put that in as a condition. And then we'll just need someone to second that motion.
Yeah, please, who wants to second it? Mr. Clay wants to second it. Approve with that condition.
All in favor?
All in favor? Sorry.
You're dissenting?
Yes, I'm dissenting.
Oh, it's 3-1 then, yeah. All right, so it's approved with that condition. 3-1, Ms. West dissented. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And how do I get the decision?
The decision will be sent to you via email next week.
Lovely.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you very much.
Okay, now we move to item number 3, 48 Hawthorn Avenue. And the purpose is to alter the existing 2.5-story detached dwelling by constructing a rear third-story addition and to enlarge two third-story dormers. They're asking for 3 variances. And on this application, we receive a survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, 4 photographs of trees, and letters to the neighbors by the agent, and a tree plan. We received comment from Heritage and also a staff report from Communities Planning. We have people who are interested or have concern from 9 Castle Frank Road. Yeah.
Through you, Madam Chair, we do have the agent here in person. We do not have any registered speakers for this item.
Okay, so please introduce yourself, and then I will check with the panel whether we want to have a presentation from you then. Okay.
Okay, it's Monica Kuhn. I'm the agent for the owners.
Okay. Do you want your address?
Oh, sorry, 12 Sackville Place.
Yes. All right. Then, any questions, or we want to have presentation?
Question, but I don't need a presentation.
We don't need a presentation. We do have questions for you. Okay, let's start with the questions.
Thanks, Chair. You appear to have created an international incident here.
Yeah.
Maybe you can speak to the Consul General's letter.
Yes, no problem. So we did circulate my explanation letter, which you have on file, to the neighborhood. And the neighbor to the north is the one that you're referring to. My clients met with them. They're good friends with them. And they were concerned with the size of the dormers facing their house, but they seem to have mistaken that the dormer that faces them on the north side of our project is actually a very small addition and meets the requirements for being under the 40% of the length of the wall. The dormer on the south side is the one that is in question, and that they can't see that. So, misunderstanding. And when I got this letter, I sent a quick email to my clients to let the neighbors know that that was a misinterpretation on their part.
And that has happened?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's good. Any other questions? So the Heritage has no comments?
Heritage has no problems. Community planning also has no problems. I've been in communication with both from the very beginning.
Yeah. Only the community planning want to tie the approval, any approval to the elevation drawings.
That's fine.
Yeah. Any other question? Oh, yeah, we still have a question from Ms. West.
I don't have any question.
Oh,
I just,
you like to take, we move into committee now?
yes. Is there any other question from
We
my
have
colleague?
no other questions.
No, if there is no other questions, I would like to put forward a motion to approve this application with one condition, that I want to add the condition that staff recommend on the report dated July 24, 2024, that the owner is required to build a proposal substantially in accordance with drawing number A6, A7, A8, and A9 elevations received by committee on June 7, 2024. That's my motion.
Okay, Mr. Bayer, second.
Chair.
All in favor of the condition and also all approve unanimously. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, item number 4 is 60 Bernard Avenue. This is to alter existing 2.5-story detached dwelling by constructing a new rear ground floor addition with a terrace. They seeking only one variance. And on this, we also receive a copy of the survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, 6 photographs of the property and decision affecting the subject property, and presentation from the agent. We do not receive any other comments. Yeah.
Through you, Madam Chair, we do have the agent online, no registered speakers for this item. At this time, we'll unmute David Bronskill.
Thank you, Madam Chair. David Bronskill, 333 Bay Street, Suite 3400 in Toronto, here as agent for the applicant.
Thank you very much. I'm going to see whether we want a presentation from you since you do not have any oppositions here. Just wait. Do we need a presentation or we have questions? Yeah, we do not require a presentation, but we do have some questions. Mr. Bayer, go ahead. Yeah.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Bronskill, just a quick question. I'm looking at the existing ground floor, I suppose, ground floor drawing, and it shows a covered concrete deck at the rear of the house. So is the proposed addition essentially covering that space?
It's a great question, and that's where I was going to go in the presentation. It essentially would sit on the foundation for that covered concrete deck. And just to give you a complete picture, and I apologize to staff, it's page 9 of the plans, which is either the existing east elevation or existing west elevation. You can then see, that's great. Either of them work. That's the area there. That's the covered porch. And if you scroll down a little bit further, staff, if you don't mind, there's an east elevation, and you can just see how that space is essentially being redeployed indoors. So it would sit on the same foundations. The existing building length, which is 23.99 or 24 meters, is measured to the back of that covered concrete porch. That's the measurement to the back of the proposed first-story addition. So from a massing perspective, there really isn't much of a change. And just while I've got you through you, Madam Chair, they've also increased the amount of rear yard landscaping, because I know that's something that always twigs your interest, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, just a quick
Sorry.
one.
Yeah, another question. Sorry, I was just looking at the drawings.
No, just,
Yeah.
Dave, I don't really frankly have any problems with this one, but I was just looking at your photos. And in the rear yard, there's a rather large structure. Is that in behind your client, or is that adjacent to your client?
The wall there,
Yeah, that one. And there's another photo of it as well. I couldn't, it looks like it's the structure behind your client?
it is there, to the north, there's a brick-clad garage for the property on Davenport.
That can't be it. That's a pretty big garage. My point is that your client's rear yard looks like it's fairly closed in already.
It is, sir. It is, yeah. I think it's a fairly substantial garage there. Like if you see that jacuzzi in that picture, I think that's similar to where the garage, that our property comes to a point at the back. And to be honest, I just haven't focused in on that picture prior to your question. But I think that's where the jacuzzi is, and I think that's where the clients, because you can see on the left-hand side, there's a 2-story brick garage as well. So I think there's those 2 garages that frame that back corner.
Right. So there really isn't, I don't think in this case, there isn't really an impact on the neighbors, and the fact that we haven't received any correspondence would seem to verify that.
Yeah. From this, on the site plan, it seems that it says there's some structure right at the end on the west side. That is like a 2-story structure, but we do not know what. But that's probably what you see in the photographs.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions, please? Yeah. No more questions? Okay, Mr. Bonsquit, we do not have any more questions now. We are in committee. Okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Yeah.
Chair, I'll just make a quick
Mr.
comment.
Yeah.
The requested variance in depth is quite substantial, from 7 to 25.
Yes.
But given the explanation that I got, that the new structure is going to be on an existing concrete pad at the back, already in place, which means that for all intents and purposes, the structure is already at 25.5.
Yes, yes.
So given that, I don't have any objection to this particular.
Yes, and also the site itself is really in the middle. Although it's very upscale, all these houses are turned to commercial or houses are very big, but the sites are very tight because it's the like the annex wise. So I do not have any problem with this one either. So we would like to make a motion, Mr. Byett.
Sure, Chair. If my colleagues are okay, then I'd like to move a motion to approve this application. I believe that there are no, I don't believe there are any conditions.
No, we don't have any reports from any authorities.
No.
Okay. Ms. West, want to second?
Through you, Madam Chair, can I have a friendly amendment? Would you accept that we also tie to the east elevation? So that extension will be only for one level?
Yes.
Do you accept if we also tie it to east elevation drawings?
Should be fine with me, yeah. Well,
Okay.
yeah, okay, yes.
And I'll second that motion. Thank
Yeah,
you.
all in favor with that motion tied to the elevation. What, do you know the drawing number?
Just the east elevation.
East elevation, okay.
It doesn't have a drawing number.
Yeah, drawing number. Okay, we all understand east.
East elevation.
Yes, okay, all in favor, unanimously. Thank you. Thank you, it's approved. Thank you. Next item is number 5, is 1500 St. Clair Avenue West. This is to alter the development standards for mixed-use development containing 2 buildings, and with a shared podium and a 16-story, one is 16-story, the other one is 18-story tower. And they actually want to some parking space with obstructions because of structural columns, and also they are in site plan approval process. They're looking for 3 variances. And on this, we also receive a survey site plan, floor plan elevations, landscape plan, 8 photographs, planning justification letter from the agent, and decision affecting the property, and arborist report, presentation material, revised diagram 6 affecting the property, and application to remove trees, and a site-specific bylaw. And we received comment on from development planning, and also a staff report from Metro Links.
Through you, Madam Chair, we do have the agent here in person, no registered speakers for this item.
Okay. And can you give us your name and address, and I will check with the panel whether they require a presentation from you then.
Of course. Thank you, Madam Chair. Can you hear me clearly? My name's Charlie Smith. I'm a senior planner with Bousfields, Inc. at the address of 3 Church Street in Toronto, Ontario. I'm representing the owner of the property, municipally known as 1500 St. Clair, to 1536 St. Clair. And I do believe we have a representative from the ownership who was registered. They may be online. Her name is Sasha Lozon.
Okay.
I'm just confirming that. I'm happy to give a presentation to committee today, but I will just note briefly, as you mentioned, there are 3 variances pertaining to a site-specific approval, a increase in unit count, a minor relief from a upper story setback, and 10% obstructed parking spaces. So happy to go into a detailed presentation should you require it.
Okay, thank you. Panel, do you want a presentation? A brief one?
Chair, I was just wondering if we could get a short, quick
Yes.
walk
Summary.
presentation that you've attached together.
Do I have my 5 minutes that starts now?
Have you prepared for a 5-minute presentation?
I
Is
timed
you-
it this morning. It's under 5, so.
Okay, yeah, let's have it. Let's have a summary because it is sort of a little bit more complex.
Of course.
Yeah, okay.
Could I have staff just pull up the second slide in the presentation? It's an aerial overview of the site.
Just give us a second. Our computer is just. Just.
Perfect. Just the second slide, please, when you have a moment. Okay, perfect. Thank you. So as mentioned, this application pertains to 1500 St. Clair, as well as other properties all fronting Caledonia Road. So the subject site is outlined in the red color there and is a consolidation of former industrial and commercial properties. The development application on the site was approved through two site-specific bylaws, 535 and 536, 2022. Which included an official plan amendment and site-specific zoning for a mixed-use building. The development application, as noted earlier, is currently in the site plan review process. Next slide, please. So briefly, the approved development consisted of two mixed-use buildings of 18 and 16 stories with an approximate GFA of 48,000 square meters and approximately 1,100 of grade-related non-residential retail uses. A total of 776 units are provided, of which 10% are 3 bedrooms and 15% are 2 bedrooms. The proposal also includes public realm enhancements along St. Clair. Next slide, please. Here are just a couple of quick images to give you a sense of the proposal. So on the left, you can see the public realm improvements along St. Clair extending north on Caledonia Road. And the right-hand image is just looking in between the two buildings, which I'll show briefly. Next slide, please. So this slide illustrates the approved building envelope, which was set out in site-specific bylaw 536, 2022. And this bylaw secured various setbacks, separation distances, as well as new privately owned public spaces along the St. Clair Avenue frontage. The two buildings are referred to as Building A and B, Building B on the north. And you can see that it includes a variety of stepped elements transitioning to the east towards Caledonia Road. Next slide, please. The three variants today pertain to an increase in the total number of units. We're seeking an increase of 6 units, a revised setback at level 15 of 13.2 meters, and securing obstructed parking spaces. Next slide, please. So the first variance pertains to the overall increase in units from 770 to 776, and this is a result of mechanical efficiencies that were refined through the site plan process. So right now you're looking at the 15th floor plan, and in the gray area on the left-hand image, this was consolidated in size, resulting in additional floor area. The image on the right illustrates the 6 additional units hatched in the green color. I will also note that the bylaw secures a provision of 10% 3 bedrooms and 15% 2 bedrooms, which are continued to be maintained. Next slide, please. This second variance pertains to the, or is directly influenced by these additional 6 units. So on the left image is the current zoning diagram identifying an area in red, which the setback is that we are requiring relief from. Currently a 16.5 meter setback is required, and the 3 units from the additional 6 protrude slightly into this red area. The image on the right shows the revised diagram, which would extend the level 15 main wall out to level 14 below. Next slide, please. What is important to note about this variance in particular is that a cantilevered element was originally contemplated at the 15th level in the left-hand image, and this supported a green roof above. The building envelope has remained the same, and the only difference is that the area below this cantilever will now accommodate private balconies. Importantly, there will be no net new shadow impacts on the, from the building on any adjacent properties. Next slide, please. The final variance pertains to obstructed parking spaces, and in essence, this variance will allow for a maximum of 10% of the parking spaces to be obstructed by structural columns in the underground levels. This will allow for flexibility in the underground, and these spaces have been marked on the next slide, please. I will also note that transportation staff have given a letter that has no objections to this proposed variance. Next slide, please. So, in summary, it's my opinion the proposal meets the 4 tests. With regard to the official plan, the proposal continues to support the mixed-use areas designation applying to the site, as well as the buildings secured through the site-specific bylaws as noted. With regard for the zoning bylaw, the proposal maintains all other setbacks and dimensions of the building envelope, with the exception of the 1 upper-level setback. The proposal will also continue to maintain the 10% and 15% 1 or 2 and 3 bedroom units. And then speaking to the appropriate use of land, these variances will establish new housing in proximity to St. Clair streetcar, which is frequent transit, and allow for the continued approval of this zoning approved development. And then finally, with respect to minor in nature, the variances do not fundamentally change the planned function of the building. And it is my recommendation that it meets the 4 tests, and the committee should recommend approval. Thank you. 20 seconds too long.
That's good. Yeah, no, it's a good summary, right? It's good. Any questions? Yes, we do have.
Just one quick question. Is this supposed to be intended to be a condominium complex or a rental or mixture of both?
So in terms of the unit tenure, I believe that is still being determined. I'm not sure if we have Sasha Lozon on the line from the ownership. She would be more equipped to answer that question. I believe at the current stage it is considered to be condominium, but I'd defer to Sasha if there's any further comments on that.
I should just say thank you for the presentation. Made a lot more sense to me than my trying to understand it myself. And I must say that it'll be quite an interesting development for that particular site, which, been driving past it for years. And
okay, thank you so much.
Quite an interesting development. Thank you.
So because you're going through a site plan approval process anyway, so any of those landscaping requirement and all, you're already working on those. There's no particular conditions that we'll need to adopt at this time, right?
No, currently these are the only 3 variances we're seeking. We're actively engaging with still development planning staff. We have landscaping plans and a landscape architect. So those plans will be continued to be refined through the site plan process. But at this point in time, there are no issues relating to landscaping.
Thank you. Yeah, that's my question. So any other questions? No, we do not have any more questions. Oh, we do?
No more questions.
Oh, okay, we don't have, okay, now we're in committee.
Yes.
Yes, okay, Ms. West, go ahead.
Through you, Madam Chair, I would like to put forward a motion to approve this application with only one condition of the Metrolinx warning condition dated July 24, 2024. That's my motion with no other condition.
Yeah, it's a warning clause, not
Warning
advisory,
clause
right?
only.
So we have to adopt that, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so anyone wants to second? Mr. Clay. Mr. Clay second. And just let me, rest, and then Mr. Clay. All in favor with that condition, with Metrolinx comments, okay. All in favor. Oh, did you, yeah, all in favor? Yes. Approved, thank you very much. Yeah,
Thank you so much for your time.
Metrolinx, yeah. Okay, now we move to item number 6, is 1357 and 9 Sultan Street, and also 11 St. Thomas Street. This is to alter an existing 9-story commercial building by constructing a front ground floor 1-story addition, which is like a vestibule and integrated rainwater management system, fronting Sultan Street, and two office condominium units. They are seeking 2 variances. And on this item, we receive a survey, site plan, 4 plans, and elevations, 5 photographs, cover letter from agent, and a decision affecting the property, and site-specific bylaw, and revise a map 2 of the subject property, and also heritage corresponding presentation materials, and another site-specific bylaw, 10/12/25, 2013, and we also receive a comment from Heritage Planning. Welcome.
Through you, Madam Chair, we do have the agent here in person, no registered speakers for this item.
Yes. Can you give us your name and address, and I will see whether we need a representation from you.
Yeah. Good morning, committee and staff. My name is Carla Tamayo. I'm a senior planner at Bausfields, located at 3 Church Street in Toronto.
Okay, thank you.
Chair, it's an excellent presentation. I read it, and but I think it's so good that we probably don't need you to take us through it. It's a fairly minor application.
Yeah, the visuals help in the presentation, but
Yeah.
it's
We might have questions for you, though.
Yes.
Yeah. Do we need a presentation, Mr.
Nope.
White? No? Okay, let's move into questions then.
Just one quick question. I mean, it's a very straightforward application. I
Yeah.
don't have it. But my only question is, I think in the proposal, it talks about integrated rainwater management system. And I was just curious, because from the images that I've seen, the top of the vestibule looks fairly flat. So I've just, out of curiosity, that rainwater management drainage system, presumably there's something there that allows for water accumulation, for water to drain away.
Yes, unfortunately, I'm not an architect. I can't speak in detail to the design.
Don't worry then.
Oh, yeah. I was just guessing that it might be something like it will turn back into usable water or integrated. Yeah. Yeah.
Technology.
Yes.
Wonderful.
No,
It is a good question.
yeah. Okay. And any other questions? There's a heritage planning. Yeah, heritage condition. Yeah. Okay. All right. Yes. We are committee now because we.
Chair, I'll kick this one off. I think this is very straightforward. As we mentioned, the presentation and all the various materials were very fulsome and very helpful and served to convince us that this is a very minor application, and it looks like it's a needed application to provide protection for residents, and so I'll move approval of this application subject to heritage condition.
Yeah, anyone want second that motion? Mr. Bayer second, and with the heritage condition, all in favor? Unanimously approved. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, now let's move to item number 7 at 71 Oxford Street. And for this application, the purpose is to alter existing 4-story mixed-use building by constructing a parcel with a 4-story addition and a front 3rd-story balcony and a side east entrance leading to the secondary story commercial space, and to relocate the 2nd-story main entrance leading to the residential units, and also constructing a side outdoor patio abutting Augusta, and also replace existing east wall access ramp. The existing 1-story commercial space located at the rear of the property, and the existing rear 4-story rooftop deck will be maintained and unaltered. They are seeking 10 variances. And on this file, we receive a survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, cover letter from the agent, and a tree plan from the agent, and zoning bylaws exception. And we receive comment from Heritage and a staff report from Urban Forestry. We have also received support from Augusta Avenue and also from the Kensington, from Bowen Street and also Oxford Street. We also received support from Augusta Avenue and also Oxford Avenue. And that's all the material.
Through you, Madam Chair, we do have the agent here in person, no registered speakers for this item.
Yes, and can you give us a name and address and see whether we require representation? Thank you.
Good morning, Madam Speaker, Madam Chairman, and members of the panel. My name is Lance Caprillion. Address is 180 Shaw Street, and I'm here as the agent for Karen Hack, the owner.
Thank you. Do you want to have a presentation? Not really. We do have questions for the agent. We do not need a representation, by the way, so we have questions. We could move into question period now.
Thank you.
Chair, thanks. Great proposal, an adaptive reuse of the site. It's and obviously in the heart of Kensington. It seems to be a very good use for this property. I was just looking at the plans. You've got an accessible wheelchair ramp on the existing structure, and you're planning to take that out. So does that affect your compliance with Disability Act?
It is the one thing that we've been grappling with, because that ramp is actually on city property. Karen Hack had that built for her medical practice or alternative medical practice. And, but it's not on her property. So there's an encroachment agreement for it. It's going the wrong way now if we relocate the entrance to the ground floor to the opposite side of the ramp. So it's a bit of a conundrum because we don't have capacity on this site to replace it on the site. So we are we're looking at alternative ways to provide accessibility to the ground floor, but that the intention at this point is to remove that ramp because it's on city property. It sort of falls outside the jurisdiction of the committee. So it just was a challenging thing to address for us for this.
Yeah, no, I get it, and I don't know whether it's an ODA requirement or not.
OBC, yeah.
No, the Ontario Disabilities Act.
Oh, that is part of the OBC, I think.
So it provides access to the first floor right now, and the first floor in the future is going to be used as the cafe?
Cafe, yes.
Okay.
So keeping the ramp would just bring access to the second floor, which would take them to a stair. So it would be purposeless.
But that is beyond our purview, but I was just curious of what your plans were.
And the other challenge is that it's typical in Kensington. It's not just a few steps, it's quite a difference. The buildings are quite high, so we're dealing with many, many steps, and that's why the ramp is so large. So it is a challenge we will be facing when we proceed to the next stages.
Okay.
Permit and encroachment permit.
Thanks.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, don't seem to have any more questions. Now we are in committee.
Thank you.
Yes. Yes.
Maybe I'll start this off, Chair. I think this is, like Mr. Clay has already indicated, I think it's a great proposal. And Kensington will only benefit from the improved.
Would you mind speaking to the microphone
sorry.
a little bit? Yeah.
I'm going to have to get a new.
I can hear you, but maybe some other.
Yeah, I think this is a great proposal, and the issue of the ramp, of course, I think Mr. Clay's raised, and it's not within our purview at this point in time. So I think this is a proposal that's worth approving. From what I can see, I don't believe, there's a Forestry 1 condition. I think that's the only condition that's attached to this application. So I'd like to move a motion to approve with Forestry 1 as the condition.
Yeah.
I'll second that, Chair. And I just, again, just reiterate, it's a great proposal to reanimate the site and to contribute to the overall Kensington experience. So I think it's a very positive application, and wish you all the best of luck in bringing it to fruition.
Thank you so much.
Yes. Yes. All in favor? Unanimously approved with the Forestry Condition 1. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now next item is number 8, 12 ABBOTT Avenue. This is to alter the existing 2-story detached dwelling by constructing a complete third-floor addition and a rear and 2-story addition with a green roof above the 1-story addition and a rear basement window well with a rear canopy above. They're seeking 2 variances. And on this, we receive a survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, and 3 photographs of the tree. And we receive comment from the Metrolink, and also we receive support from 2 addresses on ABBOTT Avenue.
Through you, Madam Chair, we do have the owner online, no registered speakers for this item.
Okay. Yes, we are ready. Yes.
Yeah, hi, can you hear me?
You cannot hear us?
No, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah. Tell us your name and address. And since you do not have any oppositions, we might not need a presentation from you. But let's tell us your name and address.
Yeah, my name is Dustin Hooper. I'm both agent and owner.
All right.
Address is 12 Abbott.
So I'm going to check with the panel whether they will require a presentation. No, we do not need a presentation from you. We might have questions.
Yep.
We do not even have questions, so do you have anything particular you want to address the panel before we move into discussion?
No.
No? Okay, so we are in discussion now. Yeah.
I can start off, Chair.
Yes, Mr. Byett.
I think this is a very straightforward application. There's nothing contentious in the variances requested. They're all minor.
Yeah.
If there's no, if colleagues don't have any other comments, I'd be willing to put forward a motion to approve.
Yeah. Metrolink has an advisory.
It's an advisory, Metrolink's advisory, not a condition.
Warning, actually.
Through you, Madam Chair, the report is advisory, so we're just going to leave it as advisory and not as conditions.
Yes, exactly. So anyone want to second that motion? Ms. West second, and all in favor approve unanimously. Thank you very much. It's approved. Thank you. And the next item is number 9. Number 9 is 47 Dunkirk Road, and this is to construct a new 2-story detached dwelling with a secondary suite in the basement and a front covered porch and a front canopy over the ground floor and a rear ground floor deck with stairs and a rear basement walkout and also auxiliary building containing 2-car garage and a laneway suite above. They are seeking 13 variances. And on this, we also receive a copy of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevation, revised site plans, and a revised zoning waiver, and 3 photographs of tree, cover letter from agents, supporting material from the agent, and rental demolition conversion declaration, and revised zoning notice. And we receive comments from transportation engineering and also from from urban forestry. And we receive also from community planning. And we have received interest or concern from 38 and 45 Dunkirk Road and some opposition from also 49 Dunkirk Road.
Through you, Madam Chair, we do have the agent online, and we have 3 registered speakers in opposition.
Okay.
At this time, we'll unmute the agent.
Good morning, committee.
Yes. You do have some opposition, I think. You tell us your name and address first, and then I think we require a presentation from you. Yeah.
Yes, Jonathan Minskowski, 301 Keewatin Avenue.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. You can give us a 5-minute presentation. Yeah.
Yes, thank you, committee. We did submit some revised list of variances. That is what we will be requesting today. It was filled out for the revised zoning waiver. The revised list of variances as a result of some back and forth with city planning, which has ultimately culminated in the staff report of essentially the substantial accordance with what is being requested now. The changes made were a reduction in basically in the building length and the depth, as well as some additional landscaping that has been provided. I'd like to initially address the forestry comment that essentially came in yesterday. We had an arborist report that we had filed some time ago with urban forestry addressing this tree in the rear yard that essentially is entirely on this property. Our arborist, which the letter has not been uploaded because I believe it was not sent in time, indicated that this tree is in an unsafe condition. And if we go to the forestry report itself where it shows the pictures, we would be able to see that there is some leaning of the trunk as well as it coming towards the house in an unsafe manner. Our arborist does recommend that it be removed due to it being in an unsafe condition as well as a poor condition as it relates to both the subject property as well as the adjacent properties. In terms of the variances that are before you, I'd like to first address the laneway suite. Again, this is a typical laneway suite proposal. That rear yard landscaping is a very tough performance standard to maintain because you're coming off the rear with vehicle parking. It's just very tough to maintain that. I also did include some pictures of the laneway situation along the rear of Dunkirk in my supporting material that shows this is a typical condition. Yes, there it is, where there really isn't any landscaping in the rear. We would also see 3 properties to the east. We see a similar new 2-story laneway suite that has been constructed that essentially would just continue with the property that is before you today. I'd like to address next the side yard setbacks. If we could go to the proposed site plan, I've indicated the existing side yard setbacks of both the dwelling and the adjacent dwellings. If we zoom in, we can see that the proposed dwelling is masked entirely as it is from the existing house. There is no reduction of the side yard setbacks from what is there today to what is being proposed as per the application. There is an existing right-of-way between the dwelling to the north at to the south at 45 and the existing dwelling at 47. That is maintained. So the siting and the massing and the separation as it would be from Dunkirk Avenue is exactly the same. There is no alteration to that. Turning to the building length and building depth variance, what I would say is these are extremely deep lots for the location they are within the city today. We see that the dwelling, existing dwelling at 45 extended significantly further than the existing dwelling that's on the property today, as well as the existing dwelling at 49. What I would also note is that the separation between the rear wall of the proposed dwelling and the front or the rear wall of that proposed laneway suite is 11.91 meters. Again, 11.91 meters between the two, which kind of illustrates the depth of the lots and how it is able to accommodate the additional dwelling length that is being proposed before you today. Lastly, I'd like to speak to the setbacks of the canopies and the porch and the encroachments. If we go to my support material I filed with some photos, I just showed the adjacent dwellings to the north and the south to show that that is essentially a typical condition where we see both dwellings located essentially in the same position as it relates to the front lot line. That stairs and encroachments and setbacks are all existing as it is today. And if we could go to some photos I had, it would illustrate the encroachment of the front stairs and how it's a typical condition within the neighborhood. I believe it's just labeled support material on the AIC itself. Correct. It would be, there it is. So that's the adjacent dwelling to the south, where we see again a typical stair that comes to the front, and the next slide would illustrate the other adjacent dwelling again with stairs that essentially come to the front property lot line. That's my presentation. I'd be happy to ask any questions that you might have.
Yes, before we go to the opposition, I do actually have 2 questions or maybe corrections. I see whether you agree. It's about the variances. Is you've used the numbers are identical on our agenda and also on your revised zoning waiver, but let's go to the revised zoning waiver because they are in red. It's easier to read. The question is on variance number 7 and also 11. If you read the variances, 50% is 67.38 square meter. You're proposing 47, right, which is short. The area should be smaller, right? But in fact, it's larger. And same mistake is made in on variance number 11. 85% is 66.26, and 79.45% should be smaller than 66.26, right? So that is also an error in calculation, I think.
Correct, Madam Chair. Those are typos. That should be 62.09, but the percentage number is correct.
Yeah, I understand. So we have to correct this now, though.
Correct, yes, because the performance standard is actually the percentage, not a hard number, because they obviously vary from site to site. So those should both basically read 62.09, and the other one should be a 6 also rather than a 7. They were typos, I believe, when the architect made the revised waiver.
So we should revise the first variance number 7 is 63.59. Do you agree? The 47 representing 63.59 square meter, and 11 variance 11 79.45%, representing 61.93 square meter.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. With the
That's the
percentage
correction.
remaining.
Do we get that? Yeah. All right, so now we can move on. The opposition, yeah. Please.
SciCat, you've been unmuted.
Sure. Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna start.
You're going to have to speak louder. We can't hear you, unfortunately.
Do you hear me now?
Yep.
Better, but you can still speak a little louder. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm gonna put my volume up here to the max. Good morning, everyone.
Sorry, we can't hear you. You're going to have to speak directly into your microphone.
Okay, give me 1 sec.
No, still the same, sorry.
Okay.
Try again?
Yeah. Do you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, my apologies. Good morning, everyone. So my wife and I, we are going to talk, and we live in 49 Dunkirk, which is just east of the proposed redevelopment. So essentially, we are not against the redevelopment. The issue is the house that they're proposing is too long, and we are concerned, and too high as well. And we are concerned that this proposed redevelopment, especially on the back, if you notice, then that the rear of their main unit, that goes essentially all the way to our rear deck, not even the house. And it's so high that we are concerned that this is gonna like prevent lights coming onto our house, is gonna cause there would be the airs, there wouldn't be proper airflow, and definitely it would have complete shading in our backyard. So we are really concerned about all of those. And my neighbors from 49 Dunkirk, which is on the other side of this proposed property, they also have similar concerns, and they sent you guys a letter. Unfortunately, they're on vacation and they couldn't speak to you. So that's the main concern we have. Although there are other variances which we are a little bit concerned about, but the main concern is the length at the rear of the property for the main unit.
Any questions?
Just a quick one. Could you, I'll ask the agent the same question, but how much deeper is the proposal than your house?
I believe my house is somewhere between 16 to 17. It's probably not even 17 meters, somewhere around 16 to 16.5 meter, whereas they're proposing to have this building 19.58 meter, I believe.
So you're saying it's about 3 meters beyond the back of your house?
Yes, and at the same time, they're also proposing that deck, so the basement of their property is even longer. That is 3 meters longer than the ground floor and the second floor, right? And they're proposing a deck on top of it, which would be approximately 7 meters from the back of my from my building, which essentially goes all the way to our backyard. And we are really concerned about that privacy, lighting, shadow, and all of that. And if you notice this neighborhood, I haven't seen anything like this in our neighborhood. We have been living here for 10 years, and we have a nice family-oriented neighborhood. And we want to maintain that, especially like kids' play area, all of that maintained in our backyard.
So can we just pull up A0? It's a site plan, I guess. Great, thanks. That's actually the revised plans. It's the next one. Okay. I'm just getting a sense, trying to get a sense of how much further back the new proposal is relative to the existing.
I measured. I found there's approximately 3 meters from the back of my property.
So 3 meters. Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay.
And with the deck and the basement, they go like approximately 7 meters further.
Any more question to this speaker? No. Okay, thank you. And do we have more speakers? Yes. Can we have the next speaker, please?
Alaka, you have been unmuted.
My husband, Saikat, he already talked about it and I support him.
Oh, so you have the same address as the last speaker. Okay,
Same address, yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. Do we have any other speakers? Yes.
Through you, Madam Chair, yes. We have the person in concern at 229 Glebe Mount on the phone. Can you hear us, Selvin? Selvin?
Yes, this is for Selvin and Vanessa Coxon, owners of 229 Glebe Mount Avenue. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Yeah.
Okay. Our concern, as a homeowner fairly close to this property, but also in general, as we are sure more and more applications will come in the future. The main one is the increased risk of flooding to owners. Redevelopments currently are asking that very little soft landing is allowed, covering almost the entire property with very little area left for natural draining. Some of the open areas can also be covered further with paving, reducing natural drainage even more. We are seeing more and more flooding, so the variances need to be carefully considered, as it will only get worse given that we have experienced recently severe flooding. Variances 7, 11, and 14 are asking for the soft landing variances, but once allowed, there is no going back. We have a storm drain on the corner of our property, serving the entire street from Woodmount Avenue to Glebe Mount Avenue on Dunkirk. We often, as homeowners, have to go out to clear the drain during rain, as it cannot cope with the runoff. That's our first concern. The second concern, reasons for allowing the laneway suites additional units on single property. We believe the purpose was to provide more affordable accommodation on a long term. Rents appear to be pretty high, as it will be naive to expect a landlord not to charge what the markets will bear. Landlords will charge as much as they can, as this is the reality. Some units appear to be available as short-term Airbnb offerings as well. This was not the intention of the city. I think, but sure, how is this being monitored by the city to ensure that the units are indeed used for long-term rentals? Our third concern is the increase in traffic. On Dunkirk, as with many other streets in our area, there is a marked increase in traffic as more and more units are added to existing structures. Additional occupants generally have a car, and there is not enough legal parking, but they have nowhere else to park. Laneway parking is not being used where available. We have other rental units now on the street with quite a few occupants living in a single residence, so increasing the burden on current infrastructure. Parking is so bad at times, people are parking more and more on the sidewalks for deliveries or when visiting for short periods. The infrastructure just cannot bear the increased usage and strain currently. Again, we do not seem to anticipate the side effects for well-intended solutions, but need to carefully reconsider allowing for all the additional development and how many units and or additional occupants are allowed on a single property originally zoned for single families. I appeal to the committee as a concerned homeowner to carefully consider what they will allow so that all homeowners are considered. but also carefully take into consideration the state of our current infrastructure and how it can cope with more traffic and more occupants on a plot of land originally intended for one family. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have questions for this speaker? No? Okay, we do not have any questions for the speaker. Do we have more? Okay, that's all the speakers. Let's bring the agent back. The agent, would you mind addressing some of the concerns raised by the previous speakers?
Yes, absolutely. From the previous speaker, in terms of the parking, we are providing two-car parking on the ground floor of the proposed laneway suite, if you see it at the back. So there will be 2 spots provided. The laneway suite is entirely located on the second floor. I would like to now just deal with the idea of privacy and overlook. If we could go to A6 in the proposal showing the side elevations. So what we see here is the proposed side elevations. The only 2 second floor windows are located towards the front of the dwelling, which is on the left side. The privacy and overlook concern, as it would face the west, is simply not there, as they are not located within the rear yard portion. Similarly, on the east side, if we go 2 down from here, there's actually no windows that are proposed along that side also. Now, if we could just stay here for 1 second. In terms of the deck itself, the deck is an at-grade deck. It is not elevated. It is not pushed up by an integral garage. So it is a typical deck that is modestly above grade by approximately 1.1 meters. So again, not pushed up, a fairly typical deck. Through you, Madam Chair, Mr. Clay asked a question regarding the projections beyond the rear walls of the adjacent properties. The projection beyond the rear wall, if we wanted to go to the site plan, to number 45 is 1.14 meters. Okay, that would be to the west. To the east is 2.25 meters would be the projection to the east. The other concern dealt with the deck, the extension of the basement. That is actually an open air walkout. That is not a closed portion. So it is open air as we see below as it faces the adjacent neighbor, really for the access into that proposed basement unit to accommodate the secondary suite. To go back to the idea of the length and depth of this and the negative impact it would have, as we can see here, the adjacent dwelling has essentially probably that same 11.9 meter separation between the rear wall of the dwelling and the garage. As I mentioned, these are fairly deep lots for kind of a downtown city lot, being 40 meters, where we look at kind of that typical lot in the city being 30 meters deep or 100 feet deep. So the idea of being able to accommodate some additional length, again, without imposing any adverse impact on those adjacent neighbors because of essentially that 11.91 meters just between the dwelling and the garage, whereas a typical rear yard setback for a dwelling would be 7.5 meters. So in terms of eliminating any type of exterior amenity space, I believe that's mitigated by the space that is provided between both the proposed dwelling that is before you, as well as both adjacent dwellings that have ample space to enjoy the rear yard. I really think that was the 2 concerns which really dealt with the length and the depth and the privacy. And I'd be happy to answer any questions that the committee might have.
Thank you. Yeah, any questions? Yes, we do have some questions for you, Mr.
Thanks for that.
Mr. Byatt, yeah.
The 2 adjacent properties on either side look like they are relatively new or have had some sort of work done to them recently. How would you describe the massing of your proposal relative to those 2 properties?
I did provide the pictures of both of them. In terms of the massing, the only height variance we're requesting is for a 0.5 meter on the overall height and a 0.5 meter on the main wall height. This is a typical 2-story dwelling that is grade related, that again is in fact actually less than the 1.2 meters that is the zoning bylaw. So in terms of the massing as it faces the street, this is a typical 2-story dwelling with a pitched roof. It's not a flat roof dwelling. It's fairly similar, if we go to the photos of what I've included, to what both adjacent dwellings have in terms of that massing. Here we see there's one of the adjacent dwellings, again with a kind of typical pitched roof. And if we go to the next page, we would be able to see the other adjacent dwelling Oh, that's in the forestry report. In my supplemental materials, yes. So again, fairly similar through you, Madam Chair, Mr. Clay,
Yes,
in
I can
terms of that
see that,
massing of
yeah.
a typical two-story dwelling.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Byatt has a question.
Thank you, Chair. One of I'll try and address these separately. The first question that I have for you is with regard to forestry's condition number 5. And I think it's to do with tree number 1, if I'm not mistaken, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. My suspicion is, and again, you can correct me, the stairwell that you've got coming out from the basement at the rear, presumably that is what would have an impact on tree number 1, hence forestry issuing a condition number 5. Would that be accurate?
Through you, Madam Chair, correct, Mr. Byatt.
So one question I would have for you, just for your consideration, is when you look at your basement floor plan, it seems to me, and I'm not the architect or will never be one, but moving the stairwell from the from the west side to the east side, that would certainly remove that requirement, I think, the refusal from forestry, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's one possible solution. The other question I have, and I'll throw this out at you as well, is that you've got the rear deck, and as you mentioned, that the rear deck has a walkout from the basement. The ground below the deck then presumably would not be permeable. It's not going to be gravel or and that presents another headache, because basically the length of the house then extends all. I realize it's not what you're asking for. The basement portion seems to go beyond the house. Would that be correct as well? Am I reading it correctly or?
Through you, Madam Chair, two things. One, Mr. Byatt, in terms of the stairs itself, we explored the idea of relocating the stairs. The problem is that tree, although again, by our arborist report, is not healthy. The TPZ of that is over 6 meters. It actually would go well into the permitted 17-meter length of the building. We did explore that of flipping it. In terms of the walkout is open air below, but the basement main wall of the basement is directly in line with the rear main wall of the dwelling up above. So there's no livable, let's call it covered space in the basement that extends beyond that first floor exterior wall. It's just to accommodate the rear deck above with the walkout.
Okay. So that space doesn't add to the 19 point whatever it is length of the house.
For you, Madam Chair, correct, Mr. Byatt, it does not.
Thank you.
Okay.
So you've got us at a bit of a disadvantage here, because we've got a recommendation from forestry to refuse the variance that would affect that tree. And we can get into dueling arborist reports, but we don't have any evidence to suggest that forestry's recommendation isn't correct. So if we were to accept forestry's recommendation to refuse 2 and 3, would you be able to do what Mr. Byatt is suggesting?
So through you, Madam Chair, if we refuse the building length and depth, well, you would be very close for sure, because you would lose 2.5 meters. So you would definitely be close. I mean, it would just impact the design of the dwelling itself. As these are narrow lots, the livable space really is in the depth and the length of the building itself. Again, we did provide the letter. I believe it was just too late to have it uploaded, of which our arborist was of the opinion that for the safety of not only this property but the adjacent neighbors, that the tree should be removed. I'm really hesitant to do this at this stage, but I'm wondering if a deferral might be appropriate so we can have that material uploaded, and we can, it also gives us a little bit of time possibly to talk to the adjacent neighbors and see if we can do something in that end. So I think, Madam Chair, I'm really hesitant to do this after we do this. And I also know the committee generally is. But I think in the absence of our arborist report being uploaded, or our arborist opinion of the health of that tree, I would request a deferral if the committee would grant that.
Yeah, so I think, again, we're at a disadvantage because all we've got in front of us is forestry's recommendation. And as you know, there's a increasing priority about tree canopies and trying to preserve them. So if you've got an arborist report that you can convince urban forestry that this tree isn't healthy, then that would help us make a decision. And if you want to defer, Madam Chair, I think that's a reasonable approach in this situation.
Yes. Except I don't know whether he has read, that's a subsequent report from Urban Forestry. Mentioned if we were going to approve, they want to impose a couple of conditions. Have you read that one? It seems that they're still willing to work with you.
I have, Madam Chair.
Yeah.
I have, correct. But I just think maybe at this stage, for clarity purposes, it might be best to request that deferral.
Yes, yeah.
No, Madam, this report just came in yesterday. Yeah. We didn't really have much time.
I tend to agree because it seems that they are still working. If you're willing to work with them, they probably come up with a better solution.
I agree, Madam Chair.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would agree. So, if anyone of my colleagues say, are we in committee?
Mr. Bayet has,
No, I was just going to say the same thing. I think in this particular case, a deferral may be a much better option than for refusal, and then you'll have come back again with, I think this, certainly a deferral, I think, would be a better option.
Okay, yeah. Now, we finished our questions now, right? So we are in committee now. We can consider your deferral request. Yeah.
I think a deferral is quite appropriate. I actually quite like the laneway suite.
Yeah.
Actually, I think it's a good proposal. Yeah. So I'd like to see this come back with either confirmation that the tree can be removed or some new design that might help.
Yes, I think that
I'll move approval. I'll move deferral of this application.
Exactly. The urban forest seems to be opening up to work with them anyway, and also I agree. The proposal, I seldom see a laneway street has not too much variance for that. It's mainly the houses, the length and all. So okay, let's have a motion for the deferral.
I did. Yeah, I moved a motion. I moved deferral.
Oh, okay. Okay, sorry, just let me, and then Mr. Bayer second the motion, and all in favor for deferral. Okay, we defer this item, and also please use the time to work with urban forestry, and come back.
And the neighbors.
And the neighbors, yeah, and come back. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, it's deferred. Okay, do we need a break? Anyone? Yes? Yes. 5 minutes break? Yes. We're going to recess for 5 minutes. Thank you. Yeah, in the rear, this is to construct a one-story auxiliary building, detached garage in the rear yard, abutting the laneway. They are seeking 6 variances, and we also receive on this file a survey, site plan, floor plan, elevations, 2 photographs, and decision affecting the property, and a copy of surveys, site plan, floor plan, elevations, and we have received comment from transportation engineering and a staff report from Metrolinx and also community planning. We received support from owners of TORBRICK Road and 4 addresses, and we also received 2 oppositions from TORBRICK Road too. Yeah.
Through you, Madam Chair, we do have the agent online, no registered speakers for this item.
Okay.
Hello, John Boone.
Can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes. Can you give us name and your address, and then see? I will check with the panel whether we want to have a presentation from you.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee. My name is John Boone. I'm acting as agent for the owners, and my address is 51 Arundel Avenue.
Yes. Do we need a presentation, or should we have a presentation? Because they do have some opposition, though. Yes. So because you do have opposition, although they haven't registered to speak, but would you like to give us a very brief presentation, just maybe address some of the issues that they oppose? Yeah.
Okay, sure. I think if you bring up, there's a document called CEA correspondence from June the 7th. It's basically just a photograph of the rear yard area where we're going to be proposing this garage. Yeah, that's it right there. That's the rear yard. So members of the committee, as you know, there are 6 variances associated with this project, some of which are triggered by others, but essentially the 3 variances concern height, setback, and landscaped open space. I believe the height and setback variances are minor, and so I won't address those at this time unless the committee has questions. I believe the more contentious variance is landscaped open space, and the variance in this case is proposing 17% landscape, whereas the requirement is 25%. So we have gone back and forth with community planning, who have provided a letter on file with you indicating that we will be using permeable pavers for the deck area at the back of the house. I know this doesn't change the landscaped open space amount, but I believe the general intent of the bylaw is still being met or considered by doing that. The general intent of the bylaw here would be to essentially bring water into the ground as opposed to onto the lane and into the catch basins. And so I think in addition to that, you'll notice on this photograph at the left that we do have a rain barrel at the, you'll see it on the left-hand side of that photograph. And so in essence, by building a structure like this, the landscaped open space condition, in my opinion, is being approved, or not approved, rather, unchanged. Like most of the properties on this lane are very similar to what we have here with hard paving to allow for parking, which essentially is just bringing runoff into the lane and into the catch basin. And so by adding a structure like this with eaves troughs on the side, what we're able to do is collect the water and bring it to the rain barrel, and then hopefully to garden and other plants on the house. So that's really all I have to say. I think just speaking specifically to the landscaped open space variance, I believe the variance is minor based on the fact that we're actually going to be improving the condition that's currently there from the committee.
Okay. Yeah, so are you going to have more? Are you finished?
No, that's all for now, committee, unless I'm leaving it there unless there are any questions. Thank you.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Actually, I do have a question. If you look at the staff report, they asking for the permeable pavers for the existing rear patio. Is it going to be reconstructed, the existing patio? Or is
Yes, that's correct. It's currently, it's currently brick pavers, but they're going to be replacing that with permeable pavers.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's my question. Yes, we also have more questions for you. Mr. Clay, yeah.
Thanks, Chair. So I was just going up and down the laneway in behind, and you're right, most of the, looks like townhomes along or houses along this stretch have rear yard parking off the laneway, but most of them are just open. They're just parking pads. So you might be one of the first that are proposing a garage back there. There are a couple sheds. But I was just looking at your height, and given that you might be one of the first that are putting a garage back there, it's just a one-story with a slope. I just wonder if there's any chance that you could drop your slope a little bit just to reduce the height a little bit. I don't know why you need that extra height back there.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. If you could go to drawing A5.1, the rear elevation for the section. Yeah, if you zoom in on that. So the variance that we're looking for is it's 4.3 meters, where the variance requires 4 meters. So we're talking about 1 foot. But that added 1 foot, it's just a small portion of the triangle at the top. Like it's not a flat roof. And so basically that's what happens. We've got a slab on grade, then typical 8-foot stud walls, and then an 8-12 pitch on the roof, which is just generally preferable for the, the duration of life for the shingles. Like the better the slope, the longer the shingles last. So it's just more of a function of the construction. I've spoken to the owner. It came up. We are willing, if the committee is able to do that now, we could. I don't see any reason why we could not reduce the slope of the roof as you suggest. Yes, we are certainly willing to do that. I'm just not sure that it's entirely necessary. It's only a small little triangle at the top. If it were a flat roof, trying to achieve that height, I could understand. But my sense is just based on the condition as it sits, I think we're okay. I think that the variance here is in fact minor.
Yeah, again, my only observation, I get the fact that it's, it doesn't look like an egregious one, but, the 4-meter height bylaw is there for a pretty good reason. And given the proximity of the homes along that stretch and the very small backyards, I think you might be better served if you were to be able to drop your pitch a little bit so that you could conform to the bylaw.
We can do that.
Okay, that'd be great.
Any more questions? No.
Just one quick
Yeah,
question.
Mr. Byett, yeah.
One of the folks in opposition, I believe it's an immediate neighbor, talks about a common access way to the back, presumably from the front, and that was part of the opposition that this person has. Yeah, looking at the rear, the photograph of the rear of your property, I couldn't quite figure out what this individual was talking about. Would you be able to just describe what this person meant?
Sure. I think if you look at drawing number A1 on the site plan, the site plan shows a photo. Look.
A1. Okay. I see. So when I'm looking at the top end on the
bottom
north side
right-hand
here.
corner there.
There's a little
Yeah,
gate.
that's a picture of the lane. Yeah, so I've read the opposition letters, and I'm sure everyone on the lane shares their concerns, but I want to speak to what might be affected by the construction of this garage. So the lane is two-way traffic. I believe one of the committee members may have done a Google Street View trip along there, and you'll see that, you know, you can fit two cars along the way. They dodge one another. It's like a 5 or 10 kilometer an hour run. You don't see cars flying up. It is a lane, but it is two-way traffic. But the garage, as it is proposed, it's not going to really have any negative or change. I suppose is the best word of use of the way that the lane is used. You're still driving into and out of what was a parking space and is now a garage. The sightlines are generally not affected either, because we've got fences a fence on the one side, the west side, and then a planter and some landscape on the other side, which will be staying, by the way. The planter's not. We're going to be tucking the garage basically with a slab on grade. There's no large excavation. It's a slab on grade, and it's going to be tucked in right beside that planter. So we're not going to be affecting that either. So that's the one about the lane. I don't know how we could change that. There's nothing we could do to change that in any way. It's just, I think that's more of just a general concern that the homeowner has, as do other owners along the lane. But I don't believe that the proposal as it stands affects it or changes it in any detrimental way.
The plant is actually on your neighbor's property by the looks of it.
It's both, yeah. It sort of comes onto ours about 1 foot. It sort of splits. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? If we do not have any question, we are in committee now. Okay. But I think that I sort of line with the applicant, although the pit is extended a foot, but the slope is pretty steep. In actual reality, if we tie to the elevation, it's not going to the 1 foot is not going to make any difference.
Well, I mean, it has a little bit of a shadow impact, but again, it's just that if you go up and down that line, everyone else has parking paths.
Yes, I agree with that.
You know, if this is going to be either the first or one of the first ones that are going to be built, maybe we should try and keep it to the bylaw.
Well, yeah, I agree. That is a good thing too. But although I think that even if you keep bylaw, you're not going to make too much difference.
I'm splitting hairs, but the fact that they're prepared to actually
do it, then it's fine. Yeah, just that's a shallower slope, and then maybe one less variance. You just delete one variance, maybe it looks better for the neighborhood, I guess.
It's just my view. I don't know whether anyone else shares that.
I share your perspectives. Doing Google View up and down the lane, there's a shed just a little further down.
Which is
and it's just a flat roof sloped away, and it doesn't look as imposing as I think this garage, and in the future perhaps many more garages like it. Will certainly have quite an impact, I think, as time goes on. So, yeah, I think if it can stick to the 4 meter.
Okay, we refuse the variance number 2, which the height is, so they have to stick with the 4 meter, right? Okay, yeah. So, any more comment? And do we have a motion, please?
Yeah, sure, Chair. I'll move a motion based on our discussion. I think this is a good proposal and the garage in itself, I think, is a reasonable application. If we were to approve it, I would approve variances number 1, 3, 4, and 5. And refuse variance number 2, and attach the planning staff condition for permeable pavers.
No, just wait that. I think there's a variance 6. Yeah.
If you go to another page, there's 6.
Yeah,
that one as well.
We approve all the variances except 2.
2.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay. A second. Let me buy a second. And all in favor, and yeah, with that is a motion, all in favor, refuse number 2, yeah. Approve, thank you very much, yeah. The next item is number 11, it's 98 GOLFVIEW Avenue. For this application, the purpose is to alter an existing 2-story detached dwelling by constructing a south side 1-story addition with a ground floor covered deck and stair. The existing auxiliary building, which is a shed in the rear yard, will be demolished. They're seeking 4 variances. And on this file, we receive a copy of survey site plan, 4 plans and elevations, 2 photographs, and also a staff report from Urban Forestry. And there's no other comments we received. Right?
Through you, Madam Chair, we do have the agent owner online. No registered speakers for this item.
No. Okay. Okay. Let's have the owner.
Paul, you've been unmuted.
Good morning, Madam Speaker and members of the committee. It's Paul Backwich. My address is 98 GOLFVIEW Avenue.
Okay, thank you. Let's see whether we require a presentation from you. Since you do not have any oppositions on this file, yeah. No? Yeah, do you want to go to questions? We do not require a presentation from you, well, no, or either we have any questions. Do you have anything you want to address the panel before we move into discussion?
No, I have nothing that I would like to be addressed. Thank you.
Okay, so now we're in committee. All right. It's very straightforward, right?
I think the first thing that struck me, of course, was this variance number 3, which was rather large request. But then when you look at the site is a very unusual one. It's a very tight site.
Yes.
And I think, again, it's contextual. So given the particular site that we're looking at and the context, I'd say this is a reasonable request. So I don't see any issues with it. And considering there are also no voices in opposition, I think this is an acceptable proposal.
Yeah. The forestry condition 1 and 2. Yeah.
Forestry, yes, 1 and 2. Yes. I think those are the only conditions attached.
So, Mr. Bai, are you making a motion on that?
Yes, certainly. I'll put forward a motion to approve.
Yeah.
Forestry 1 and 2 as conditions.
Ms. West, second, and all in favor with the conditions? All in favor. Approved unanimously. Thank you. And then we are going to item number 12, which is 300 GEARY Avenue. This is to alter the development for a 4.5-story office building. It's currently under construction, and by reducing the required number of parking spaces to 12 parking spaces, and also provide all parking spaces as surface level parking spaces located at the rear of the property, and this they're seeking 1 variance. And on this file, we had received a survey, site plan, 4 plans and elevations, 4 photographs of trees, and a cover letter from the agent, and previous decision affecting the property, and parking justification letter, and the planning rationale from the agent, and presentation material from the agent. We also received comment from Heritage Planning and Transportation Engineering.
Through you, Madam Chair, we do have the agent online, no registered speakers for this item.
Oh, okay.
Good morning, Chair and committee members. My name is Claire Bricker, and I'm an associate with Bestfield.
We can't hear you too well. Maybe you, I mean, it's clear, but it's a bit soft. Can you speak into the microphone or some?
Absolutely. Can you hear me a little
much
bit
better.
now?
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes.
So My name is Claire Ricker with Bousfields Inc. We are located at 3 Church Street, Suite 200 in Toronto. And I'm the agent representing 300 GEARY LP, who are the owners of the site.
Okay, thank you. Since you do not have any opposition, I'm going to see whether we require a presentation or we just move into questions. Yeah. No questions? No. Yeah, you have questions. Yeah, we do not need a presentation from you, but we do have questions. Go ahead, Mr. Clay. Yeah.
Thanks, Chair. You currently have approval for 18 parking spaces. Reading the material, you're going to remove 6 of those, which I think on the surface of it looks fine. But how many employees are going to be in this building? It's an employment building. It's an office building, right?
It's an office building that is currently under construction. We've had our transportation consultant review the estimated parking rates and the utilization, and they were supportive of the parking rate that we're proposing.
Yeah, I get that. Like, roughly how many employees would, I mean, it's under construction, so I guess you can't predict, but you do have a floor space index, so I mean, are you looking at 50 employees, 100 employees?
I would have to run that calculation. We relied on our transportation consultant to look at the, like as you said, the density of the building, also considering the parking demand, transit in proximity, et cetera.
Yeah, no, so the reason I ask is I know you're at one end of GEARY. We're seeing an awful lot of development along GEARY, the other side, I think, where there's a lot of retail and restaurant activity, and parking is becoming an issue in and around GEARY. So I do note that right across the street there's a large surface lot. I don't know if it's entirely owned by the Brick or whether there is parking available. I guess I just trying to get a sense of what incrementally the load on parking is along the breadth of GEARY. Not sure if I'm being clear.
No, yes, you are being clear, and unfortunately, we don't have our transportation consultant here today to speak to this, but they're the ones that conducted the initial study where we received the initial committee approval to reduce to 18 parking spaces, and so then they reviewed our latest proposal to seek this additional variance.
I'm just going to assume that you're going to have more employees than 6 in this structure.
12 parking spaces.
Or sorry, pardon me, 12.
Yeah.
12 employees. Beg your pardon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do have the similar question to Mr. Clay. In the initial development plan, 72 parking spaces were required. What suddenly there's a drastic decrease, like you eliminate 60 of them. So why is it 72 parking? Is it based on the floor area or?
Yes, for office uses.
For office, yeah. And then you actually still require to provide 72, right? But then you can only provide 12. So, yeah.
Yes. So because you can't vary an existing variance, we have to obtain a variance to the parent bylaw 569/2013 to reduce from 72 to 12. But we want to acknowledge that we have the existing approval for 18 parking spaces. As shown on the image on the screen, the parking stacker accommodates 2 cars per vertical space, if you will. So our proposed parking condition is still maintaining that same footprint, but because they are surface parking spaces, that's where that's where the 6 space reduction is.
Do you understand that? I'm so sorry. I just Because the variance in front of us, it seems that it is still requires 72. But you said that it's been approved for 18 previously, but then why do we not base on that one, or is it because?
Through you, Madam Chair, you do have the previous decisions.
But is that already move aside? We still stick with the 72 from our agenda?
That's what the bylaw requires.
Oh, okay, I see.
So what the applicant is explaining is that there's 18 and they want to go down to 12. But the bylaw still requires 72.
72, yeah, I see.
So, if I might, Chair, the reduction of 6, I saw something about stack parking, so you're removing the stack parking? Is that what the proposal is?
Correct. So yeah, this is a great image on the screen. So you can see highlighted in orange on the left-hand side that we have a parking stack, like an automated parking stacker system proposed, which involves parking 2 spaces kind of vertically. And the owner has decided to no longer pursue the use of a parking stacker system. So we are replacing that stacker and the footprint of that in the rear of the site with 6 surface parking spaces. So rather than there being 12 in that area highlighted in orange, on the right-hand side, we would have 6 surface parking spaces on the right-hand image.
I do note that transportation doesn't have any problems.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. More questions? No. Yeah, we do not have any more questions for you, so we are in committee now. Yeah. I think we have for the city, the overall has a drastic change in parking requirement of project recently, in residential, but in the commercial thing, I'm not really too sure. But if transportation have no comment, they probably.
I am surprised that you have a stacking parking system in what would be presumably people coming and going. Because every time you've got 2 cars there, somebody's got to take the bottom car out before you can get the top one. So it becomes complicated. I have seen this at dealerships, which is fine. It's a different story.
Yeah.
Why stacking system was proposed in the first place is beyond me. So I understand why they want to just have 12.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any room for any additional parking at the 12 spaces that they've got.
Oh, it's unrealistic to even say 18, but the 72 is still way beyond the reality.
That's a multi-story stacking system.
Yes.
So I don't disagree with you. We need office space, and office space is critical for, this is an employment area, and this is a really good proposal. My only concern is that, this is only serviced by bus to the subway. And I think it's impractical to expect that you're going to see the vast majority of people taking transit to get to this site. I do worry about the incremental impact if every commercial area and office starts reducing their space. And, I don't know whether you guys have experienced it, but we've had several applications for development along GEARY where the residents are very, very concerned about the parking and the overflow. And so if this was in a different area, I might not have a problem with it, but I think the fact that GEARY is exploding with investment, that we're going to add a lot to some of the congestion and the parking spillover that's going to be happening in that area. So I'm not sure that this is, I take your point about stacking, and that's awkward, but that was the basis upon which this was approved at the last committee. So I'm personally, I'm a little uncomfortable about this, continual reduction of parking in this area and its impact on the adjacent surrounding area. And, you know, you can't rely on that great big brick parking lot because that's private, I presume that's private property.
I do see your point. Oh, especially they already been reduced to 18. And I think that the number is not the number. It seems that the size of the development, the requirement for 18 is not that hard to meet. Or maybe it's better for the community, as you say, the situation too. So to reduce it further, that's what we are looking at now, whether it's a minor reduction. I think if we reduce 2 more, maybe it's a minor reduction.
Yeah, I personally, for the reason, I don't think I can support this application.
Okay. Any other comment? Yeah. Ms. West, I can't see your face.
I'm through you, Madam Chairman. The same thing, like 60 reduction of 60 parking. I mean, going from 72 to 12. It's not minor to my eyes, although transportation state that they had no concern about it. We got an email from them.
Yes, okay. And so do we...
Chair, I'll start, just see where it goes. I will make a motion to refuse this application.
Anyone 1 second? Ms. West second for refusal?
Yes.
And okay, all in favor for refusal? Yeah. Unanimously refused. Sorry, yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Because we don't consider this a minor reduction. Okay, thank you. The next item is number 13, is 283 CHRISTIE Street. The purpose for this application is to order a 1-story auxiliary building and constructing a 1-story addition and also a complete 2nd-story addition. We also, the existing 2.5-story detached building, which is a retail unit, and have 1 residential dwelling unit on the lot to remain unaltered. There will be a total of 1 commercial unit and 2 residential units on this lot. They're seeking 4 variances. And on this application, we have received a survey, site plan, floor plan, and elevation, revised site plans, floor plans, and elevations, and 3 photographs of 3, cover letter from agent, and also presentation material from the agent. We received comment from transportation and staff report from community planning, and we have received 2, 4, 6 support letter of support from Clinton, and also from 3 letters from CHRISTIE, and another 2 addresses in Yarmouth Road. Yeah.
Through you, Madam Chair, we do have the agent online, no registered speakers for this item.
Okay.
Good morning.
Yes. Can you tell us your name and address? And also, since you do not have any opposition, we may not need a presentation from you. But yeah, let's give us your name and address. Yeah.
Okay, so my name is Emmeline Decoré from Rigid Frame. I'm the agent for 283 CHRISTIE Street, and my address is 1 Leaside Park Drive.
Okay, thank you. They do not have any opposition? Do you want to have a presentation or you have questions? No, we do not require a presentation from you, but then we might have questions. Just wait. Yeah.
I'll be happy to answer your question if you have any.
Yes.
So just to confirm, this is basically a laneway suite, right? I mean, we're not calling it a laneway suite, I presume, because of your zoning designation, but it's effectively a laneway suite?
This is correct, yes. It's a laneway suite built on top of the existing garage. Mm-hmm.
Right, so the variances before us look like they're fairly straightforward. But if you weren't mixed use, would you be more or less as of right for a laneway suite?
Sorry, I don't understand your question.
Yeah, I thought I might be
Yeah.
a little bit.
Yes, yeah, too complex for people who are outside the zoning.
Yeah, okay, then I'll just
Perception.
let it go.
Yes. Any other questions? Yes. Mhm. Okay, we do not have any more questions. We are ready to move into a discussion. Do you have anything you'd like to address the panel before we discuss this? Yeah.
Yes, actually, I just would like to say to the Committee of Adjustment that the same type of project has been approved at 281 Christie Street.
Yeah.
So it's and it's under construction right now. And that's it. Yes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yes. Okay, I think, yeah, we are in committee now, but they have a huge building, a blank wall right next to them, and I do not see this will create more negative impact. Yeah.
There won't be any more massing than there already is.
Yeah, exactly.
I had the same observation that Mr. Clay had, and that is that it's a laneway suite. But
Yeah.
already in that.
Yes.
And when one looks at the street view of that lane, I think this will be a good development, a positive development.
Yes.
It might be replicated later on. I don't see any downside to this at all.
Yeah. So, Mr. Bayet, do you like to make a motion?
Sure, Chair, I'll do that. So I'd like to move a motion to approve this application. I believe there's a planning condition, and that's it.
Okay, anyone like to second the motion? Yeah, Ms. West second, and all in favor? It's approved unanimously. Thank you. It's approved. Thank you very much. Yeah. And now we move to item number 14. Sorry, I haven't got 14 here. Item number 14 is 162 Forest Hill Road. And this is to construct a new 3-story detached dwelling with a front covered porch and a front integral garage and a rear ground floor deck with a fireplace and barbecue area. And there's a rear third floor balcony. They are seeking 10 variances. And on this one, we also receive a survey site plan, floor plan elevations, and a revised site plan, floor plan elevations, and a cover letter from the agent, and Albert's report from also a revised Albert report. So we have also received presentation material from the agent, and we received comments from Urban Forestry, and we also received support letter from Dunvegan and Forest Hill Road. Yeah.
Through you, Madam Chair, we do have the agent online, no registered speakers for this item.
Okay.
Through the chair and to everyone, I'm actually trying to get in touch with the agent. I've tried emailing and phoning them and no response. Perhaps you'd want to move to item number 15 in the time that I can try to get in touch with David Bronskill.
All right. So we're going to hold on number 14. Let's go to 15, right? Item 15 is, okay, it's 405 McRobert Avenue. This is to alter the existing 2-story detached dwelling by enclosing the front porch into habitable space, and also to construct a new front porch with stairs and a front canopy and a front second-story addition. They are seeking 8 variances, and we also receive a site plan, a survey, site plan, floor plans, elevations, and 6 photographs for street. We received comment from Urban Forestry, and also 2 for 5 support from Roberts Avenue.
Through you, Madam Chair, we do have the agent online, no registered speakers for this item.
Hi, my name's Jason Kiefer, and I'm the agent for this proposal. My address is 496 St. James Street.
Okay, thank you. Let me see whether we require a presentation. Anyone interested? No, we do not need a presentation from you. Do you have questions or you move into? Yeah, we have questions for you. Let's move into questions.
Just one quick question, if I may. Variance number 3 is asking for a reduction in soft landscaping in the front. Is that a very much a existing circumstance?
Yes, we're going with approximately the same amount of soft landscaping area. We've maximized it while allowing for pedestrian access.
The request 39.45%, is that a reduction from what exists at the moment?
I would have to calculate that. But it's
They're not building out, are they?
You're not really, yeah, I don't think you're extending beyond the existing footprint, so probably not much of a reduction if there is any at all.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, from the site plan, it seems to be more or less as it existing, yeah. Okay, any other questions? Okay, we do not have any more questions for you, but do you have anything you want to address the panel before we take this into discussion?
No, thank you.
No? Okay, now we are in committee, yeah. Yeah. Okay, Ms. West, sorry, I can't.
Through you, Madam Chair, I would like to put forward a motion to approve this application subjected to urban forestry condition 1 and also the conditions that they stated in their email dated in their report July 25, 2024.
Okay, the urban forestry has condition number 1, right? Yes. Yeah.
And also there's other conditions that they've been mentioned in their report dated July 25, 2024.
There's other conditions? What do you?
I don't, is that in the supplementary?
Oh, no, sorry, just the condition number 1.
Okay.
Okay.
Forestry
condition.
Yeah. Second, Mr. Bayer, second. All in favor of forestry condition? All in favor? Forestry, yeah. Thank you. It's approved unanimously. So are we moving back to? You cannot contact. Yeah. Okay. 16. Number 16 is 164 Day Avenue, and the purpose for this application is to alter the existing one-story detached dwelling by converting the enclosed front porch into habitable space and construct a new covered front porch and stairs. They're seeking 2 variances, and we have received a copy of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, and we received comment from Urban Forestry, and we received 2 supports, one in Day Avenue and the other one is Blooming Avenue. Yeah.
Through you, Madam Chair, we have the agents, owners online, no registered speakers for this item.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Mohammed, you've been unmuted.
Yes, hello, hi, my name is Mohammed. I'm representing the owner from this property.
Can you tell us also your address, please, for the record?
Address is 164 Day Avenue.
Oh, it's the same address as the property, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you. Since you do not have any opposition, I'm going to see whether we require presentation from you. No, do you have? We do have questions for you. Okay, just wait.
Thanks, Chair. Just looking from the purpose, you're converting the enclosed front porch, so it's already enclosed?
Yes, it is already constructed. You know, just explaining you the history, what happened after they construct this, enclose that front porch. If you look at it, there is a main entrance to this building at the right side. During the construction, because that existing deck in the front of the main door was rotted, the contractor removed that rotted material, wood material. Now they want to put a new material, and inspector said we need to build a three-foot landing for this new door based on the new code. But when we put this three-foot landing and the steps and then the roof on top, then doesn't meet the current zoning bylaw, you know, and that is why we are requiring these two conditions. We have these two issues with the zoning, you know. One is this encroachment of this front porch, which is 2.95 meter. The limit is 2.06, and the next one, the stair. If you look at the site plan, you can see. If you bring the site plan, yes, this site plan, if you zoom on, you know, the steps, if you look at the step, the front steps is 0.3 meters, it's about 1 foot to the property line. The zoning asking for 2 feet to the steps, you know. But
So
this is the
I
main
think
entrance.
my question is mostly about, it's already, you've already enclosed the front porch area. It looks like from the view, it's got drapes and such on it. Is it already been used as habitable space?
Yes, yes. You know,
maybe we need to permit in the
No, it is with permit.
purpose?
Yeah, everything is with permit. Everything is done by permit. As I said,
No.
after
I'm just sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I was just Sabrina. I was just wondering whether we need to just alter the purpose a little bit, just to say it's to permit the front porch.
It's the enclosed front porch.
It's already enclosed and
but
it's
the
already
landing
habitable.
But the landing and the thing
I
is
get
new.
that. That's
Yeah,
new.
it's
So I just wonder if we just want to adjust that or not. Or?
Yes, through you, Madam Chair, we can
adjust.
revise the purpose to say to permit the existing one-story,
enclosed front porch, and
to construct
a new
yes, covered front porch and stuff.
I think that's much better, more accurate.
Yeah.
Do you hear that? We're going to revise the purpose clause so that it reflects more accurately what you're doing. It won't change the variances. Okay, let's have that. And then any more questions? Let's go to the agent. We are ready to discuss this case. Do you have anything you want to address, panel?
No, I think that is the two only things. You know, the main issue the owner has, they cannot build this main entrance porch because of the zoning. And consider this is the main entrance. There is no other way for the owner to go inside this house. You know, and it is a challenging time for the owner.
Thank you. All right. So we are in committee now. Yeah. Anyone wants to? We have comment or we have a motion?
I think
Yes.
I'm happy to move a motion on this one. I think this is very straightforward. This is just simply putting entry stairs into the existing dwelling, and the variances before us are very minor, no impact. I'll move approval, subject to forestry condition number 1.
And also amended.
As amended, thank you.
Yes, yeah. And anyone wants to second? Ms. West, second. All in favor of the amended agenda? Yeah. Okay. All in favor? Unanimously approved. Yeah.
Through you, Madam Chair, we can go back to item number 14. We do have the agent online.
Oh, okay, great. Yeah. All right, let me go back to 14. 14 is 162 Forest Hill Road. The purpose is to construct a 3-story detached dwelling with a front covered porch and a front integral garage and a rear ground floor deck with a fireplace and barbecue area and a rear 3rd floor balcony. And they're asking for 10 variances. And we also receive a survey site plan, floor plan, elevation, and revised site plan, floor plan, and elevations, cover letter from the agent, ABBOTT report from the agent, and a revised ABBOTT report. And we have a presentation material from the agent. We receive comments from Urban Forestry, and we have 2 addresses on Forest Hill Road of support. Yeah.
Through you, Madam Chair, we do have the agent online, no registered speakers for this item.
Okay.
David Bronskill, you've been unmuted.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My apologies. I thank staff for giving me the right password to be able to log back in. I had logged out from earlier today and then could not get back in.
Okay. All right, we are ready for you. And yeah, let us know your address. Yeah.
Yes, David Bronskill, 333 Bay Street, Suite 3400 in Toronto. Here's agent for the applicant. I do note the letters of support. Our clients have canvassed nearby neighbors, and my understanding is there are not any concerns or objections. There is an urban forestry memo that I've seen that recommends a condition of approval. We do have in the package, as usual, the numbers that we can show the committee in terms of the range of approvals. And I think the site plan probably tells the best story in terms of how the building's proposed to interact with its neighbors. So I'm happy to answer any questions the committee may have, but
yes.
I'll stop there for now just in terms of efficiency and answer any questions that the committee may have, Madam Chair.
Sure, thank you very much. Because since you do not have any opposition, see whether the panel wants a presentation. Yeah.
Yes. So to you, Madam Chair, I have a question.
Oh, you have questions?
No, I just want to know that if you modify any of these variants, like have you modified variance number 4, or regarding the setback, front setback, east lot line, or variance number, the length of the building?
So from before, the front setback has changed from 8.57 to 8.15. That, and I'm just checking, that is what's shown in variance 8, so it's the correct variance. The length, therefore, is slightly longer, but it's shown as the correct variance in number 4. I would recommend to the committee, if you see fit to authorize the variances, and I think I've suggested this to you before, that there's a condition that requires construction substantially in accordance with the site plan. That length variance relates to an excavated portion of the building underneath the covered porch. That's where it's measured to. The building itself, in terms of its above grade portions, would not use that length or depth, although there have been similar length variances granted in the neighborhood. When you go up through the building itself, the ground floor is 22.87 meters, and that's measured to the back of the breakfast room extension. If you don't measure to the back of the breakfast room, it's actually 20.27 meters in terms of the ground floor. The second floor, there are some projecting windows for a closet, projecting nubs, I should call them maybe, for a closet and a bathtub. It's 20 meters if you include those, but the second floor, if you exclude those projections, is 18.78 meters. And then the third floor within the roof comes down, even including kind of the dormer areas, is 17 meters. If you exclude the dormers, that third floor is actually 15.25 meters. So it's the upper level portions, frankly, are almost bylaw compliant, if not under the bylaw. So it is just to the excavated piece that's under the deck. There'd be a foundation there anyway, and it's just being excavated for use as storage as shown in the basement plan.
Thank you. And yeah, we have more questions here.
Thanks, Chair. Mr. Bronskill, I sort of feel like this is a little bit Groundhog Day. I always ask this question. You're probably prepared for it. But the rear extension, is it just a roof and a support structure and it's open, or is there any kind of treatment on either side?
Yeah, so I'm just flipping forward in my package. What they've done is you can best maybe see it in the elevations. You can sort of, they're always a little bit hard to read, but I'm just going back up to the site plan to see if it's a little bit easier to see there. There's a barbecue area. There are some wall areas. So on the one side it's open, and on the other side, on the west side, it does read, I would suggest, as more of a, maybe a bit more of a wall or structure there in terms of privacy, because that's where the barbecue area is located. So on the east side, it's a little more open. On the west side, I would say it reads more as a wall area, just that one-story portion.
So on that side, it does present as like basically a one-story addition from the outside.
I think that's fair. It's to screen it off where you've got the barbecue and other amenity areas in there from the neighbors on the other side. I mean, they've obviously been approached about the variance for the new structure and how everything works together. The one thing I would note through you, Madam Chair, for you, Mr. Clay, is on the site plan, they sort of have a similar sort of arrangement where it's kind of flipped a little bit. They've got an outdoor room or area sort of on their side closest to us, and then they've got a structure that extends. They're actually 25.96, so their actual structure extends a little bit further back, but they've sort of got an outdoor room that kind of mirrors our client's outdoor room, although ours does extend a little bit further beyond.
Right, and in this instance, that neighbor is okay with this proposal? Yes. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I noticed this is Wengel's drawings on these seems to be a fairly common feature, and it would be helpful if they're listening, just to kind of, when we do have these rear extensions, just to kind of be a little bit more clear about what the treatments are on the sides, because I think it does have, impacts. In this case, maybe not so much, but sometimes, as you know, we do have neighbors that feel uncomfortable with those kinds of extensions.
Yeah.
No, I think that's a fair comment that we'll take back. I think you're right in this instance, the way it's designed next to the other outdoor room, there isn't an impact. I might be making a different submission to you if the neighbor was using that area adjacent to that covered patio in a different way. We might be having a different discussion.
Okay, thanks so much.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Any other questions? No. Mr. Bonds, we do not have any more questions. Now we are in. Do you have anything else you want to say to address us? We are ready to move it into committee now. Okay. Now we are in committee.
Maybe I'll start off with a couple of comments. I understand that these are fairly substantial loss. However, the ask for length and depth mine over the top, far too excessive. We've just been dealing a little bit earlier today with an application that was deferred because the ask was, I think, 19 instead of 17 meters.
Yeah, 2 meters. Yeah, the same as 2.5 meters.
And here we've got a length of 30.68, and granted, it's much of it is the excavated portion at the rear. It is excavated. It is living space, some usable space. So I find these projects that are coming before us and have come before us with underground structures, very problematic to deal with. I'd like to also note that the city is currently looking at something called, I believe it's called a rain tax. Because again, we've got structures that are impeding the percolation of water into the groundwater table and not just going into our sewer systems and the flooding that we've seen. And this is just the beginning of what I think we're going to be seeing in the next coming years. So I find it very difficult to approve the length and depth that is requested in this particular project.
I understand, yeah. So I see that's almost like a trend in this area. That's probably one of the reasons why they have few oppositions, because almost everyone will want to do that. It's almost a very standard thing to have it, to ask for over, like, I do not know, this case is 20 meter, oh no, 30 meter or 10 meters beyond the zoning. But usually 1 or 2 is fine. If is everybody in the whole area doing that underground excavation, that might, I do not know the answer.
So I'm happy to weigh in, Chair. I understand Mr. Byatt's concern. And I hope that when the city completes its review of subterranean and those kinds of structures, that we will be better informed as a committee, and the bylaws will perhaps even be a little clearer in terms of what's allowable and permissible and what's not. I don't think we have the benefit of that review just yet. So in the absence of that, this application isn't seeking a variance for rear landscaping. So I think there's enough permeable penetration in the rear yard. This is, I think, to your point, Chair, this is in this neighborhood. These are very large lots. These are not uncommon structures.
Yeah.
We're seeing a lot of them, approving a lot of them. I think in this instance, there is no impact on the adjacent neighbor because, as the agent pointed out, the adjacent neighbor has a similar structure in the rear, so I don't think there's any impact on that side. On the other side, it's more open, so I don't think there's an impact there. I think, these sort of open structures sometimes are problematic. In this instance, I don't see that. And the fact that there's no rear yard landscaping, I appreciate that, the length is considerable, but it really is only the main floor. The upper stories where there would be massing concerns are stepped back and are pretty close to being as of right. So I take a slightly different view than my colleague. I think in this instance, this is a reasonable application with no opposition and no variances related to landscaping, which may be a concern in other situations. So I think it's a supportable application.
I actually have additional thought. Just I see both points because we have experienced this kind of application quite a lot. I do remember that there's some request is almost excavate the entire site. It's almost to the end of the property, maybe left a meter or something. So, but I think I see this one as a contextual difference in terms of the proportion of what they excavate to the whole size of the site, the lot. It seems that they still have a substantial portion of this of the backyard that are left untouched, and unlike the other proposal that they actually excavate the entire site almost. So I remember that we have very difficult, a big difficulty approving those, but this doesn't seem to fit into that category. Yeah.
Okay, through you, Madam Chair. I agree with you and Mr. Clay. Since that is building depth, although the numbers is almost it's substantial, it's almost twice the requirement. But since it's underground and it's the above ground, I can see 17 meter on the side plan have been pointed. So I agree with this explanation that it will not impact the neighbors and the lot is long enough so it can accommodate these kind of length and depth, which is underground, like it's due to the unexcavated area under the structure. So
Okay.
So I'll, based on that, I'll move approval of this application, subject to forestry condition 1 and 2.
Yes. Anyone want to second? Ms. West second, and with the condition forestry condition 1 and 2, who?
Through you, Madam Chair, do you want to tie it to the site plan?
Yes.
Yes.
I wondered if that's not a bad idea.
I think we should, and also maybe the elevation, so that we know this is one story, and the side elevations.
For the length, yeah,
because
that's actually a good point too, so
Yeah.
that we ensure that the depth is only limited to a one-story
Yes.
portion of the rear.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's
okay,
good
tied to
suggestion.
the elevations and the site plan. All right, all in, you still second that motion? Yeah, Ms. West still second, and then all in favor of that motion and the condition? 3-1, Mr. Byatt oppose. Mr. Byatt oppose. 3-1, approved. Thank you.
Through you, Madam Chair. So item number 17 is postponed.
Yes.
So we can move on to item number 18.
18, number 18. So, okay. Number 18 is 16 SKYLARK Road, and this is to construct, to alter the existing two-story semi-detached dwelling by constructing a new front enclosed porch and stair. A new front second-story addition is a bay window, north side, ground floor, and second floor addition, and a rear second floor cantilever addition with a Juliet balcony, and also to construct a north side walkout basement and with stairs. And they're seeking one variance. And on this one, we received a survey, site plan, floor plan, elevations, cover letter from the agent, and decision affecting the property, and presentation material from the agent. We also received comment from Urban Forestry, and the 2 reports from them, and we have received support from 4 addresses on SKYLARK Road. Yeah.
Through you, Madam Chair, we do have the agent online. We also have one person in opposition, or sorry, speaking in concern.
Okay. Yes.
Bree Johnson, you've been unmuted.
Oh, hi, Madam Chair and members of the committee. And my name is Bree Johnson from Silver Studio Architect. My address is 21 Silver Avenue.
Can you speak a little bit louder or into the mic more? We can hear you, but it's still a bit faint. Yeah.
I'll move my head forward closer to my computer.
Okay, now it's better. Yeah.
Great.
Yes. And you do have someone who wants, is it going to speak, the one in concern? Yeah.
I believe so, yeah.
Yes, so yeah, maybe you give us a 5-minute presentation. Yeah.
You would like a presentation from me, Madam Chairman?
Yes, because I think there's someone who would like to speak to this item, so maybe you give us a brief presentation. Yeah.
Certainly. Okay, of the various things that we're proposing to do to the house, the only thing that does require a variance is the mudroom that we're seeking to construct on the front of the house. The mudroom itself is intended to be a modest sloped 1-story addition that would project into the front yard no greater than an enclosed or than a front porch would be as of right. So you can see that in this diagram shown here, we see the front porch encroachment that would be allowed for an open front porch. And then the following page, if staff could advance to the next page, there, the red line shows how far we are proposing to project our 1-story addition to expand the kind of entry of the dwelling, because it's a very cramped front area. We did find in my presentation materials and another document which was submitted, we did find precedent throughout the neighborhood for various other similar additions. Notably, there's one that is much closer to the front property line than ours, and there are several others that are close or maybe a bit shallower, but we do find precedent for this type of 1-story addition throughout the neighborhood.
Okay, thank you. So can, you finished, right? So we listen to the person with concern. Yeah.
Chris, you've been unmuted. Hi, Chris Poterzewski, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yes. Tell us your concern about this proposal. Yeah.
Well, basically...
Sorry, I forgot to ask you for your name and also your address for our records.
I live at 18 SKYLARK Road, next to the, the prospective, let's say, applicant.
18, okay.
So my concern is only one about the privacy, and the privacy concerns about the windows, where windows are supposed to be located.
Okay, that's the only concern? Yeah.
That would be my concern, yeah.
Yes.
Because as she said, there are lots of similar structures in the neighborhood, so basically it's nothing new. But because I live next door and the driveway is pretty narrow, so a privacy issue would be valid, I would say.
Mm-hmm. We can bring back the agent to address that concern then. Yeah. That's the only concern, right? Do you have any?
That would be my only concern.
Yeah. You have question to this speaker? No. Let's bring back the agent and comment on his concern.
Hi, Chris. Thanks for your comment.
Yes.
If you're speaking about the one-story portion on the front, the door is not that much further away than the front door now, and they would still be walking a similar way, the way they do towards the driveway. The other portions, the other additions that are part of our site plan or our set of drawings here aren't relevant to the specific variance that we're seeking in this case. And the windows that do face the side yard would be calculated in accordance with the building code areas.
Just to get a little bit clarification, your property, how far away is from his property, like 18 SKYLARK? The separation is quite a large separation. Yeah, it's.
Look at the site plan. Hold on a second.
It seems that there's quite a large separation. Right? The driveway, almost two driveways. Yeah.
Yeah, it's two driveway widths. So we're looking at this. My client's property is about 3.6 side yard, and theirs is similar, maybe a tiny bit less.
Yeah.
So we're looking at more than 7 meters of separation.
Okay, yeah, 7 meter or more, right? Okay, thank you. Yeah. Any questions? Okay, we do not have any more questions. Do you have anything you want to address us before we move into discussion?
I don't have anything else to add. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Now we're in discussion. Actually, that's why I observe it's quite a distance, and also they only propose 2 small windows. Easily you will cover up with drapes, or I don't see that's a open space that the privacy will be a problem.
I think the only observation I would make is, and it's not a problematic one, it's part of the changing face. The applicant has presented images of a number of other properties. But they seem to have porches, but they're not fully enclosed. This one is going to be fully enclosed.
Yeah.
It becomes part of the main home. I can this becoming a trend as time goes on.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not a problematic one. I don't think it's
Yeah.
costing too much. It's a minor
Mm-hmm.
addition to the homes that actually have a very bland frontage anyway.
Yeah. I will only tie it to the ground floor plan maybe, just so that it is only the enclosing the front porch, only limit to the, to that, yeah. Any other comment? Otherwise, we will have a motion then, yeah.
Yep. So I'd like to move a motion to approve this application, and
We have advisory urban forestry, but no conditions on them.
that's right.
Advisory comment only, yeah.
It's just an advisory comment.
Yeah. And we'd like to tie it to the ground floor plan, okay?
That would be good.
Yeah, tie ground floor plan, yeah. And anyone want to second that motion? Oh, Ms. West second, and all in favor with condition? All in favor? Okay, unanimously approved. So we move to number 19. I think this is the last item of the morning session. Number 19 is 49 ASTLEY Avenue. This is to construct a new 3-story detached dwelling with an integral garage, covered front porch with stair, and a rear first-story deck, and a front third-story deck. And we also have a rear first-story deck and a front basement walkout and a rear basement walkout with a patio. They're seeking 3 variances. And on this file, we received survey site plan, floor plans, and elevation, and a revised site plan, floor plan, elevations, and a revised zoning notice, and tree protection plan, and 2 photographs of tree, email from the agent, and presentation material from agent, and TRCA permit affecting the property, supporting material from the agent. We received comment from urban forestry and also natural review protection from urban forestry. And opposition, we have 2 addresses from ASTLEY Avenue and also from Elizabeth, 4 addresses altogether, yeah.
Through you, Madam Chair, we do have the agent online. We have 1 person here in person speaking in opposition and 3 other speakers speaking in opposition online.
All right, so let's listen to the agent, have the agent then.
Ali
Shakiri, 326 Shepherd Avenue East. Good afternoon.
Yes, you do have a few oppositions. Would you like to give us a 5-minute presentation?
Sure. Before I use my 5 minutes of presentation, I'd like to mention that we are removing 2 of the variances, number 2 and number 3.
Number 2.
So,
just wait a sec. We remove number 2. Delete number 2 and 3.
Yes.
Okay. And
the only variance we are seeking is number 1, which is the floor space index.
Oh, okay.
And we have submitted the revised zoning notice showing that sole variance with the updated drawings on file.
Oh, okay. We already got all those. Yeah. All right.
Yes.
So.
Correct.
Yeah. So. Yeah, you can begin. You can begin your presentation. Then I think we noted that. Yeah.
Sure. If I can ask for my support material be displayed, the first page is showing a graph of the site plan. This site is backing to Ravine, as you noticed. I have divided 2 highlights: is the yellow and the blue area. That yellow portion of the site is behind the top of the bank. So the calculation of FSI is done only on the blue portion of the site. If, that's the regulation. So if we count the FSI for this property only for the entire lot is 0.5, which is significantly less than what we are allowed to do. If you go to the next page, is our neighbor to the north. This house has gone through an addition. On the right side, there is a significantly large rear extension, not clearly visible on this graph, but if you go to the next page, that is the photo of the same house. On the back, you see that three-story rear addition, which is not visible from front. Also, you can see the other neighbor, number 47, ASTLEY Avenue, to the south side of the proposed house, which is a three-story house. That tiny house pinched sort of between these two houses that you can see, it's the existing house on number 49 ASTLEY Avenue. And that dormer, tiny dormer that you can see is the dormer to the third floor of the existing house. That can I'm trying to give you a sense of the scale for these two houses that are adjacent to this. If you go to the next page, it's what we found online about the size of this house. Number 59 is at least 325 square meters, which is more than what we're asking here. Next page is a photo of the other house, number 47 ASTLEY Avenue. You can see a full 4-story of the house. It's like 1 story is the garage and basement by zoning, but full 3-story above grade. We couldn't find any evidence as to what's the floor area of this house. However, it's quite obvious it's larger than the other neighbor. If we go to the next photograph, that's the same house, a view from the backyard with an entirely elevated backyard. It's nearly 2 meters higher than the sidewalk. It's just encroaching into the ravine past the top of the slope significantly, and you can see even though the backyard is elevated, you can see clear 3 stories above it. Next page, please. That's an angled view from the same 2 neighbors from the Governor's Road. So you can see these 2 houses, and that gap in between the 2 houses is where we are proposing the houses, number 49 ASTLEY Avenue. The difference is that both of these 2 houses have 3 full stories above grade. What we're proposing will have 2 stories on the back. So the 3rd floor is only on the front side of the proposed building. If you go to the next page, and that is a photo of the rear yard for number 47 ASTLEY Avenue, which is entirely on the ravine past the top of the slope. Next page. And these are irrelevant at the moment. There are some defects which is kind of creating hazard for the same. And next page. And in addition, if you can just turn page on the rest of the material I've submitted here, it shows sort of photos of the houses on ASTLEY Avenue. What we're doing is not overly like it's not different than the other houses on ASTLEY Avenue, and the floor space index being the only variance requested for this case. I'm sure you're well aware if this was a duplex or a triplex or a fourplex, which is well allowed on that side, then the floor space index is not going to be calculated. Basically, it's going to be exempted, but this is going to be one single house we're proposing. I don't have any further comment at the moment. If there is any question, I'd be more than glad to answer. Thank you.
Thank you. Maybe we will hold our question to you after we hear the oppositions. Right? We should hold. Yeah.
Through you, Madam Chair, we'll start with the person that is here in person.
Good afternoon.
Yes. Give us your name and address.
Good afternoon, Madam Chairman. Committee, my name is Simon Holton. I'm a professional engineer, along with my wife, Dr. Elizabeth Grigradis. We live at 47 Astley Avenue.
Okay.
Been there for almost 8 years.
Okay. Yes. Are you aware that they have all, deleted 2 variances and only asking for the floor space index?
Yes, presentation is based on all 3, so
Okay.
please excuse me if I say something that's no longer.
No, it's fine.
Yeah.
I just want you to know that they make the revision. Okay, let's start then.
Okay.
Yeah.
So as stated in our submission letter of July 24th, we are strongly opposed to the requested, what we consider to be non-minor variances to the City of Toronto bylaws by the new owners of 49 Astley Avenue. All 3 of the variances and now 1, again, increasing the permitted floor space from 0.6 to 1.16 times the area of the lot, which is a whopping 93% increase in size to the bylaw. Increasing the height of the wall from 8.5 to 10.65, which again they've taken out. And also the setback going from 0.9 to 0.46, which again they've said they've taken out. I don't understand how that affects the design yet, but they've said they took out those variances. This would result in a new dwelling that does not fit with the lot and neighborhood, contrary to what the agent was saying, on North Astley Avenue, as stated by multiple neighbors in proximity to 49 Astley Avenue. In regards to reducing the setback from 0.9 to 0.46, first of all, the plan as submitted is mistaken. It says that the current setback is 0.45. That's actually not correct. There's a small, if you look at the photo I attached on page 4 of our letter, you'll see that there's a small fireplace, approximately 2 meters in length, where the setback is 0.45. But the remainder of the setback currently is approximately 0.6 of a meter. And in the back of the house, there's an extension with the setback is 1.14 meters. Second, we are concerned if the setback does go to 0.46, that it would result, as again specified in our letter, in restricting personnel and equipment to that side of our house. We have natural gas, we have electrical, we have telecommunications all on the side of the house. And in my opinion, would create an unsafe, closed working environment for anybody working in that area. And also increase the chances of damage to our foundation and to the surrounding soil. Our house is almost 100 years old, so again, it's not. There's the potential for damage to both the foundation and the soil. And there's also a gas line that runs just inside the property line that potentially would also be close to where any excavation would occur. Thirdly, during the construction, we have concerns that the smaller setback, the 0.46 as suggested, would increase trespassing and damage to our property, which has already occurred on 2 occasions so far in the last few months. Which again, one of the items with the tree being taken down is specified in our letter. Protective fencing that would probably have to go up to protect anybody from falling into a hole of the excavation would also severely restrict access to that area should we need to get there to facilitate or work on the utilities. And again, increase the chance of damage to our foundation. In regards to the permitted floor space from 0.6 to 1.16, which I believe is still the variance in place, as well as the wall height, this resulted in a dwelling whose size, length, and height does not fit with the design and character of the existing area homes, which would have a negative impact on our neighboring houses, including our own. We will have significant negative impact on our privacy and access to afternoon and evening sun in our backyard. The proposed setback and height would put the new house with its proposed 3rd floor deck on both the front and back right on top of us. This would create a very uncomfortable non-private situation, especially in our backyard, and again block the afternoon sun and light into our backyard. Based on the drawings, the current proposal would put the house approximately 3 meters beyond 47 Astley and 49 Astley with an additional deck of 2 meters. So they're going beyond the current line of the houses by 5 meters into the backyard. And again, significant concerns about the stability of the area, from the excavations. It's a very large dwelling, so close to the ravine, and destabilize the soil and increase erosion. It would further reduce natural rainwater runoffs, increasing the chance of flooding and erosion again. As mentioned, we've already experienced trespassing and damage to our property from a contractor that was hired by 49 Astley. The fact that our permission was not sought to remove a shared tree, along with the understanding that similar behaviors occurred by the owner doing another renovation on the street as well. If the minor variances were to be approved, this would only increase the chances of trespassing and damage to our property from contractors hired by the owner of 49 Astley Avenue. In summary, we have significant concerns with all the variances requested by the applicant. No canvassing or discussions has been had with any of the neighbors in the area. We submit these variances are not minor, and we request that the committee dismiss the application. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Any question to this speaker?
No, just some clarification. I think you mentioned a number of things about setbacks and height, and you appreciate that those have been removed.
Yeah.
A lot of your concerns also are kind of construction related, and that's kind of beyond our purview.
Yeah.
So that will be addressed as part of the building permit and the inspection stage and that sort of thing.
Thank you.
But I'm just curious, a bit of an unfair question perhaps, and you may not know, but do you have any, you're right adjacent to it, it looks like a large house. Do you know what your FSI would be?
Our square footage?
Yeah. And how it would compare to this proposal? Is it in the same ballpark, or?
I think this will be considerably larger, because again, they're going to go 1 to 2 meters towards the road from us, and go back 3 meters behind us as well. So it would be a much longer house than ours. Width-wise, I'm not sure. It looks about the same. I think our lots are pretty similar.
Right.
So I don't have no, I don't really know.
No, and it's an unfair question.
Yeah, we've been there a long time.
I wouldn't expect you to know.
Yeah,
I thought you just might know it.
If you asked me to guess, I would say 2,300 square feet would be a guess, but that would just be a guess.
Yeah, but I actually have the same questions, and we because the application now is reduced to asking for FSI, which is like a floor space index.
Yes.
And I just want to compare to your property too, but unfortunately, maybe the agent have done study, so maybe we can ask the agent later.
Again, the big concern would just be, with that still would be how far back they're going to go. They're going to go way past them. So we're here, the 51 assets here, they're proposing to be here.
But then they do not seek building length or depth variance, means that they can build as a right. They can build that length.
If it exceeds these.
Because they don't need to ask for variance on their length.
Correct, but it's the square footage of the house.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, which is
that's
more
why
than the
we were
0.6.
asking you whether you know your square footage in comparison.
I'm with you. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. Any other questions? Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Rochelle, you've been unmuted.
Oh, hi. Thank you. My name is Rachel Rappaport-Beck. I live at 53 ASTLEY Avenue, 2 doors north of the proposed, the property in question here. Just a few comments today. As Simon made many, and I'll be quick. So my husband Oliver is an architect, and he and I have spoken at length about this proposed bill. He was not able to join us today. He's on site. So we have serious concerns about the changes that this proposed property makes to the street and the precedent that it sets if it goes forward. Firstly, I support the 3 letters written by my neighbors that are on the record with the committee. They raise important points and concerns about the proposed changes. Similarly, the application provided by the owners did not indicate there were any trees on the lot, and since then the owners have taken one down, as the previous speaker noted. And I noticed today that urban forestry is proposed that there is a delay to the related variance due to the location of a city tree on the property that had not been addressed in the application for variance, and that concerns me, given the importance of the canopy, the fact that we're in a treed area. We're all there on the ravine for those reasons. I have concerns about the size of the proposed structure. I understand they've removed the 2 variances. I need to know more about those details, of course. So it is regardless, it's a significant change to our street, both from the front and the ravine sides. This proposal means another curb cut for parking for the garage area. It means significantly more hardscape surface on that plot and on our street as a whole, with less green, spongy area to manage rainfall and snow, an important aspect of the ecosystem, essentially, in our little corner of Toronto. And honestly, the project itself represents an approach that's out of step with the rest of many of our neighbors. It favors cars over people, lessens green space, and with an unfriendly facade. There's really no need for a parking garage at the site. Street parking is in abundance, and they share a driveway with their neighbor. And I will say they noted number 49 in the presentation by the agent. That's my next door neighbor to the south. There's been a new resident in there who, the previous owner was the one who did that build. The impact to light in our backyard was so significant. We have a black wall in our backyard. It changed everything. And putting this one in, and to a further degree to the ravine side, I really concern about the impact of light throughout this whole area of the ravine in the back of our houses. And this is again really the reason that many of us have chosen to live in this part of the city. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any question to this speaker? No, no way. All right, we can have the next one.
Eliza, you've been unmuted.
Hi, it's Elisa Venier, and I'm at 51 ASTLEY Avenue. So I am the neighbor to the north of 49 ASTLEY, and I moved into this house 2 years ago. And so I share concerns in opposition to this build. I was not made aware of the fact that the second and third variances were removed. However, despite that, I have grave concerns in regards to the application in general. First of all, I wrote a letter to this effect. Basically, the zoning notice only identified the height wall as a variance in the front, but did not address it in the back. So, and also the setbacks. Extending this house further than where it should be will tremendously impact not only light but privacy. They're requesting a third floor deck, and if they're allowed that type of setback, it would look directly into my bathroom and bedroom. And I think that and as was mentioned by the previous neighbors, it would just interfere with privacy. But I have concerns in regards to the ravine lot in terms of just limiting the tableland, and also whether or not this ravine lot, if any studies have been done to see whether or not it's stable enough to support even the first variance. This is a ravine lot. The tableland does not extend far beyond the site of where the original house is now, and so I would have grave concerns about the tableland. So I share the same concerns that my neighbors have brought up. I also feel that a house of this enormity is really out of keeping with the nature of all of the other houses, and just the quality of houses. This is a very quiet, quaint street. The houses are appropriate, and a house of this size would be far out of keeping with the nature and quality of the street. I share the concerns about the tree. There was no mention of a tree made in the application, and I think that was a misrepresentation. The owners of 49 ASTLEY have gone on to remove all of the branches of that tree. I was away when this happened, so I did not see if a permit was available. But the application also did not accurately reflect that issue. And I would like the committee to review this very, very important issue. This is a ravine property, and my understanding is that all trees are protected. So I think that's it, but I appreciate your time.
Yes, thank you. Any question to this speaker? Actually, I do have a question. Are you at number 51?
Yes.
Okay. From the photograph, we can see that compared to the chapter property, your property is also quite large. Do you have any data on your square footage or the floor space index for your own property?
Not at hand. I haven't looked at that since I think I purchased the property 2.5 years ago. So
you do not have any. Okay.
I don't recall what that was, but yeah, I think the house that they're proposing is far in excess of my square footage.
You think so? Oh, okay.
100%.
Yeah. The second question is that we do have we have a report from the within natural feature protection urban forestry that they haven't recommended any condition. But on the other hand, I just want to point out that they did go through, they reviewed the proposal, and then they do not impose any conditions on this property. It's not that they escaped that part of the review. Yeah. Any other questions? Okay, thank you. No more questions for this speaker, so yeah.
Adam Butterworth, you've been unmuted.
Thank you. My name's Adam Butterworth. I live at 38 Astley Avenue, which is sort of opposite, but it's slightly to the south of 49 Astley Avenue. My objections have basically been noted in my in the letter dated 23rd of July, and I think when Simon was speaking earlier, he was the first person to speak. My letter was being referenced. So I think the contents are all there to see. I'll briefly summarise it. I was unaware that that variances 2 and 3 have been withdrawn, or the applications for variances 2 and 3 have been withdrawn, and I'd like to see the new plans to better understand what is going on there. Because as it stood, it was almost like you did the calculation, the square footage and the volume of that house would have been about 4 times the size of what would have been allowed, which would be more, in my mind anyway, would have been more than a minor variance. They're still looking at sort of something like a footprint of twice the size of what is technically allowed, according to the letter from Kyle Connick. The other things are more concerns than anything else. So, I mean, I'm not a direct neighbour. I live opposite. And I think they've all covered their concerns about building a property of this size next door to where they live. I do have a question around the driveway and a concern around that new driveway, which has already been mentioned. That's putting a completely new driveway in the street, which to me is unnecessary and is actually really quite close to the junction. I paced it out, so this isn't an exact distance, but it's roughly 36 feet from the Governor's Bridge, Astley Avenue junction. And that, as a junction, is quite an interesting and difficult junction as it is. A lot of people doing U-turns there, etc., and that's just going to cause more problems and potentially more traffic hazards and traffic danger. And as I put in my letter, I'm not entirely convinced the approach taken to date by the applicant has been completely sort of transparent. There's been no canvassing of the neighbourhood. There's been no trying to address neighbour and community concerns. And as I said, when that tree was being removed, I actually went over to see what the permit was, and there was no permit being displayed. And it was only after I challenged the tree removal company that they finally put the permit to remove that tree on the front door, which I think is a genuine concern over due care and attention from the potential contractors who are going to be used on the property. I mean, I know there was only one contractor, and that was for the tree removal, but I'm sure there's going to be more vegetation and tree removal going on, and so far to date the experience has not been good, and that will cause problems for the whole street and the whole neighbourhood. That's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Any question to this speaker? No, we don't have any question for the speaker. And that's all the speakers? Okay, let's have the agent back, and then first of all address the concerns that have been raised, and also we might have questions for you.
Sure, I have only 5 minutes, and it's not adequate to answer all the comments. So I try to just add to some of them, and I'm hoping that, if there's any question, you point out to me and I will answer. Not related to this application, but the tree, yes, it is removed with a permit. The tree was a hazard. If you look at page number 28 of my support material, you can see what the condition was. Half of that tree was removed during the construction of number 47 ASTLEY Avenue, Mr. Holton's house. As a result of that, that was leaning, creating a lot of problem. I will consider that a favor to the neighbors, because animals could actually climb, and God forbid, if any of those limbs would fall, that would be a lot of damage to everybody. Regarding the other matters regarding to the size of the house, perhaps this is the only house on ASTLEY Avenue that is in compliance, in full compliance with the TRCA regulations. If you go to the page number 36 of my support material, I have depicted the that red line is showing the top of the bank. And as you can see, all those houses that I've shown with the yellow arrows significantly encroaching past that line. And the regulations is that you have to stay 10 meters away from that line. You can imagine the magnitude of the thing. So if one would say that I'm doing anything majorly wrong, I would disagree. The FSI is, as you're well aware, being the only variance. I don't know how many of these applications you see these days. Someone come with just one sole FSI variance, which we know it doesn't matter anymore with regards to the. I mean, looking at the recent approvals of the city hall, that alone is still we managed to have only 2-story on the back of this house. The 3-story mass is on the front. It's not creating any side yard variance, any length variance. That length, Mr. Holton mentioned as 5 meters. That's significantly wrong. This house is going to encroach after that. After the existing house that we have on ASTLEY Avenue, about 2 to 2.3 or 2.4, something like that. I mean, I can, if you want, I can pull the exact amount, but it's not any more than 2.5. It's not nearly 5 meters. And with regards to the size of the two neighbors that you were asking, I find it not acceptable if my two neighbors have purchased their properties without knowing what's the square footage of their houses is. Based on my calculation, I found number 51 and number 47, it's quite obvious. It's larger than number 49 that we're proposing. Yet again, I think it's irrelevant what they have and what I have. I just wanted to show that what we're doing is, particularly when you're looking at that page 36 of my support material, this house is very, very friendly to the ravine, and it's not different than other houses in the neighborhood. Some of them are majorly larger. From page 11 onwards, if you turn page, please, on these houses on ASTLEY Avenue, you can see all different types. There are new houses, there are old houses, there are 4-story, like this one, for example, has a 3-story with a roof yard. The next page, you go at a 3-story with a garage. There are new houses, there are old houses, there are modern houses, there are classic homes. There are all different types, and what we've done very carefully. We are not trying to do anything horrendous or anything that is not in keeping with the character of the neighborhood. And this house has a permit from the TRCA. You have a record of that. As I mentioned, the forestry has been well aware of everything we are doing. the tree that was removed was a big hazard. You can see that on the photos that I provided. Going back to page number 3 of my support document.
Your 5 minutes is up, so maybe you can just make the last point then. Okay, yeah.
Just 10 more seconds. If you go to page number 3. Page number 3 of my support material. I want you to look very carefully to this picture. The 2 neighbors and that house, which you can see we are renewing, and the tree that you have many comments. I mean, if there is any comment that you heard from the neighbors that has a planning merit and I didn't answer, kindly bring it to my attention and I will try my best to answer. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any questions from us? Yes.
Just a quick one. Just confirming, it sounds like there were no discussions between you or your client and the adjacent neighbors? Are you aware of any discussions?
No discussions, sir, but I have to mention that nothing better would come out of those discussions than we voluntarily removing 2 of the variances. And that remaining variance has absolutely, you know, the FSI is not an indicator of the building mass.
No, I don't mean to interrupt you. So I agree, removing a couple of variances is a good thing, but it's always also a good thing to have a discussion with the adjacent neighbors, particularly when they might have some concerns. It's always a good practice. And I think it's recommended by the city.
Yes.
I met my member, Dr. Venier, on it was after the notice was circulated, and well, she was very well aware of this, and she didn't bring anything to my attention. I was considering this to be very, very minor. And that's perhaps why we didn't. I know it's not mandatory, it's a good thing. And looking at the merit of this application, we find it extremely minor. But thanks for making that comment.
Yeah, it's just only recommended for sure, but will make your life a lot easier if maybe some of the oppositions will remove their comment if they've been explained, you know, better, and more communications always better, right? Yeah, all right. Any more question? Okay, we do not have any more question to you. Now we are in committee. Okay, start.
Thank you, Chair. I'll start off. I think the agent has certainly made the task a lot easier by having removed 2 of the 3 variances.
Yes.
We began with 3, which aren't many variances to begin with, but having removed 2, we're down to 1. I think part of some of the challenges that people in opposition have raised, I think they sound a little problematic to me, because when I look at the images of adjacent neighbors, their homes are substantial.
Yeah.
Particularly the home with the swimming pool in the back, is they've got a deck that goes well beyond top of slope.
Yeah.
Further up the road, there are a couple of other properties from the presentation that was provided. There was this construction of some sort, also beyond the top of slope. So I think there are lots of problematic pieces of construction in the neighborhood. From what I can see with this particular application, I don't believe that is an issue. TRCA has provided a permit. Forestry has absolutely no comment. So all told, we've got one variance in front of us.
Yes.
I'm quite content that variance is in keeping with what's happening in the neighborhood.
Yes. Yeah, that's true. I agree with you. I think that Mr. Clay also pointed out, if this been communicated, it's probably better understood. And then maybe some of the concerns that they raise is actually not there. But it's just that they do not understand, because this house, I do not think in terms of the massing or even the floor space index, which we try to get to in terms of comparing them, we do not have. So without the evidence, I do not see this is overbuilt compared to the next door in an immediate neighborhood. Yeah.
Thanks, Chair. Thank you for coming down. We do appreciate your participation and those who called in. We did listen very carefully to your comments. But I would agree with my colleagues. This is an application. There is no height variance any longer. There is no length, no depth variance. So with the exception of FSI, it's pretty close to being as of right. And I don't know what the status of the tree in the backyard is, but if it is in the as of right envelope, then it is allowed to be removed, and that's why we don't have a forestry condition in front of us.
Yeah,
the forestry advisory is really just, I think, for the front yard. This is North Rosedale. This is an area that's very eclectic. I take that point, but there are also very large lots and prestige houses. And this is a lot that backs on to a ravine, onto the Beltway. Not surprising we're seeing this kind of investment in these lots. They're very attractive lots, and not surprising we will likely see more of these kinds of applications in this neighborhood. But I think, as Zahir points out, this is only one variance. It's an FSI variance. The FSI, I don't believe, is out of line at all with the neighborhood. I think the applicant has given us examples, many examples where this FSI and greater have been approved. So I think it's a supportable application.
Okay. Ms. West, you have any comments?
Yes. To you, Madam Chair, I also agree with my colleague. Although the FSI, FSI is almost twice the requirement, but the applicant explained well, and I've been satisfied that this is minor, since that they don't have any height variance, front yard, backyard, side yard setback, and also no other problem with the landscaping, and there is no other variance. It's only one variance, and that's FSI. So therefore, applicant want to intensify within the boundaries that allowable. Mm-hmm. And also, I haven't mentioned that height. There's no height variance. Therefore, I think I support this application.
Do you like to make a motion, or
just before we do it, the rear deck? Do you think it needs some screening?
I think that the two decks, the one that's on the third floor, seems to be set back. I think we need to.
I'm looking at it's not actually set back. It's actually there.
So maybe both the decks, because I think even the ground floor deck seems to have some potential overlook, especially with the neighbor to the, I think it's number 51. They have a pool in the backyard.
So you would suggest some, what,
screening perhaps
on the what side?
I think it's both east and west sides.
And on the first and third? There is something there, but I don't know how high it is. So, and it looks like it's open at the end on the side. So I think, to respect the neighbors, I think it would be helpful to have that screened so that there's minimize the overlook.
Yeah.
Okay. So on the east and west side of the rear first floor deck and the ground floor and the first floor deck, you think? Yeah.
I think so.
Okay. A privacy screen, 1.5 meter high. All right. So that is the conditions that. Who's making this motion? Sorry.
Oh. I'll go ahead and.
Mr. Byers' motion. Yeah.
So I'd like to move approval.
As amended, right?
As amended, just with two conditions: that the ground floor deck and the third floor deck, rear decks, be provided with privacy screening on east and west sides.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
To 1.5 meters.
Yes. And one second. Mr. Clay, second. And all in favor with the conditions? Yeah. All in favor, yes. And click. Approve with the conditions and amended agenda. Thank you. I think that ends our morning sessions, and we will resume what time?
Through you, Madam Chair, we'll reconvene at 2:30.
2:30?
Yes.
Okay, all right, it's an hour break. Thank you very much. See you in the afternoon, and thank you. I'm hungry.